like to be knowing about people. Gotta reach 'em, see it right.
The stakes are not politics. It's not. The stakes are the survival for the American idea. The idea that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. You know that there are Marxists now, and there are those, I'm going to get into the fraction on the right here today. There are those in the right who are saying the problem is liberal democracy. The problem is that people have too many rights. Nope, that's not the problem. Because you know who gave me those rights? God. So how are you telling me that God is against me having rights? Doesn't really work, does it, Satan?
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 17 years of broadcast excellence. Now in our 18th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. I have to get what's bothered me since I was 10 years old off my chest. I asked AI Grock this, quote, Jesus is the Catholic Messiah. He was born a Jew. He prayed to God. Do anti-Semitic Catholics have a problem with Jesus or God when they die? The answer shocked me. AI responded, yes. From a Catholic theological perspective, anti-Semitic Catholics have a profound inconsistency and thus a serious spiritual problem with both Jesus and God. Catholic belief holds that every soul faces particular judgment by Christ himself immediately after death. Unrepented grave sins, such as deliberate, sustained hatred, separate a person from God. Jesus explicitly commanded, love thy neighbor and love your enemies, with no ethnic exception. An anti-Semite who dies clinging to that hatred is rejecting implications of loving the very people with their Messiah, his mother, the apostles, the scriptures, and the root of where their faith came. They will stand before a Jewish Jesus praying to the God of Israel while having violated the core of his teaching. Mercy and repentance are always possible until the end, but the contradiction is baked into the belief system. Anti-Semitic Catholics are theologically incoherent with the faith they claim. The church has said for decades, rationalizing this does not bend. God, not humans, does the final judging.
Let me add one thing to this. The Islamics, the socialists, the communists, the radicals will work together to destabilize Israel, Europe, and the entire Western world. Then, here's the addition, then the most vicious will kill, torture, and imprison the others. Marxist, you think you're so smart. Mamdani, I'm not sure if he is a Marxist or a Islamist. I have my own view on that, but I don't know what's true or not. But I will tell you this. He's the nexus. He's the nexus. He's the one that can put them both together. Half of that crowd is going to be very, very disappointed when they're being tortured and killed in the end.
Hi there and welcome. My name is Dave Weinbaum. The Dave Weinbaum Show is officially on the air, and I hope you listen to my monologue. I'm probably going to get a lot of stuff out of that, and the cause of that is that there has been a lot of stuff done to Jews, and especially by some Christians and some Catholics, and I think maybe it's time to reconcile that and stop it. And it's happening even more today among some very famous people we'll talk about a little later. But on my show today, I've got, there's my wife, Lisa, just, lolly-dollying right in here, 2 minutes late. A minister of God herself. I guess you didn't want to hear the last part here. Are you okay?
I've had 4 hours sleep. What do you think?
I don't know. It wasn't my fault. A lot of things are my fault, but that's not one of them, dang it.
You were not the animal outside barking all night. That is correct.
Yes, I was the animal trying to sleep in bed. That's right. So let me finish this because I've got 8:07 down for my first guest, who is John Jeffrey Bradshaw. He's going to be number one. Moshe Rothschild is calling Rabbi Moshe, calling all the way from Israel, where things are still popping over there. 8:40, we've got Chris Adamo calling from, I think, Missouri, and Bill Hardwick, who is running for Senate office. He's right now he is a Republican candidate for that office, and is a Republican. What do you call it? He is a
representative right now.
See, I have to check the use of my great producer over there, and I knew it all the time, So so I want to thank JP for being on the show and for being a great producer. And I want to thank my little loving wife, who is, she's here. And now I'm waiting. You know what?
Am I here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Even though you only slept for, 4 hours?
Uh-huh.
That's a lovely outfit.
Thank you.
Yes. You look really good for 4 hours of sleep, woman. All right. And Rick Henderson, we got to thank him. Rick and Bev up there in Salem does all the clips and the bits, and I see a flickering below me, and it's quite frankly about time. But here he is. The great man of the Constitution. He's 257 years old. Must have a birthday coming up pretty soon, I would think. He's the guy that was around the Revolutionary War when it was taking place. He was advising George Washington, Tom Jefferson, Ben Franklin about stuff, and he was, quite frankly, he's picking up pioneer girls in Ye Old Tavern. Please welcome, all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw, right here.
Hello, Dave.
Good morning. How are you today, sir?
It's another good day in the neighborhood. Mr. Rogers got it right. I read your Facebook post this morning that said you've never been more prepared than you are today.
It's true.
So we're going to test that.
Oh, gosh.
We'll see what the
test.
Depth
Oh, that's what I like. I want to test today. Ooh.
Let's see what the depth of your knowledge is on this stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't we start out with Iran? Because that's been occupying the
my God, I don't know what that is.
What's that?
I don't know what that is.
Well, okay. We've established the depth of your knowledge is pretty shallow. Okay.
I got you on my show. You're
Well,
supposed to provide the depth. Did I not
okay.
make that clear? The depth.
Here it comes.
Okay.
The Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz, for those who uninitiated folks, is a little narrow spot, 30 to 40 miles wide, that at its narrowest about 20, that connects the Gulf of Oman to the Persian Gulf. Well, why is this important? Because about 20% of the world's crude oil supply goes through that strait on tankers, and that feeds oil to the rest of the world. So when you restrict that, which the Iranians have attempted to do, the price of oil goes up. Brent crude this morning, $119 a barrel. It's a record high. So
it's lowered since I left the house.
Yeah, oil is a spot market, so it's going to go up and down. But the point, several points to be made with this. Number one, a couple of days ago, our president, who has got big kahunas, told our allies that, hey, boys, if you really need to get in this, you need to help protect the ships passing through the strait. And a number of our allies, NATO members all, kind of thumbed their nose and said, nah, this is really not our problem. Well, Donald said, okay, I recognize that you may have some problems here in the future as a result of those opinions. And several of them, France, Japan, some others, have changed their mind and decided that, this guy means business. He's not some blowhard like Jimmy Carter was. This guy's the real deal. So if he says you're going to have some problems as a result, maybe you better look at this again. And they did. So they're going to be providing a little bit of security for oil tankers going through. Another thing that Trump did, which I think was kind of brilliant, actually, there are some Iranian crude oil ships that are kind of stuck because of the Trump's blockade on Iranian goods. He said, okay, boys, you can deliver your crude, kind of ease up on the spot market for crude oil. Smart move, smarter, I think, than any other politician would have come up with. But let's look at Iran for a minute. We have bombed the crap out of them. Mm-hmm. Their leadership is largely gone, although there is a framework of some diehards that will probably die hard.
It's not like they die easy. I mean, it's almost like they want to go.
The fact is that every time they appoint somebody, we bomb them. And I got to hand it to
get the information.
The intelligence in Iran is largely due to the Israelis. They take the long view. The Mossad has infiltrated them a long time ago.
And it's a lot deeper than they think.
I'm sure of that. Everything I see points to Israel having the best intelligence services in the world. Used to be us. We politicized that, and now we're third or fourth rate. I think Trump's going to make that better.
They're getting better.
The Mossad, though, just amazes me that let's say that, hey, let's appoint a new Ayatollah, and about 5 hours later he's blown to hell.
Yeah,
let's see who we're going to pick next. Who gets the short straw?
And some of them have moved out into tents, and Israel finds them in the tents.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, hotel
How
rooms.
Did they do that? I don't know.
You saw the video where the corner of a hotel was blown out, about 4 floors of it. Yeah. And these guys had checked in as anonymous John Doe folks, thinking that they were maybe safe, and they got the hell blown out of them. So my hat's off to Mossad. As far as Iranian war is concerned, they have just been amazing. So Pete Hegseth, our buddy in the Pentagon, said, hey, we're going to need a little cash. How about Congress, you do your job and spoon up about $200 billion to cover the cost of this war? Well, a lot of folks balked at that. But let me tell you, there could be a little backstory on this thing.
Yeah.
During the Obama regime and the Biden's disastrous regime, our military stocks were depleted. These folks didn't want to fund the military. They didn't want to manufacture ammunition. They didn't want to let contracts for advanced munition systems. And we're paying the price for that now. So I think Hegseth's ask on that is valid. I think
He had one more request,
What
and
is
it was
that?
sort of like a gift to the Iranians. He
What
said,
request is that?
we're gonna in terms of the water around the Hormuz, Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna take the top half of that, and you take the bottom.
Ah, yes, that's where their navy is occupied right now. This is a subtle
Yeah, I
little
am a
joke,
little
Dave.
deeper than you thought I was.
Good job. I bet you sat up all night thinking that one up.
No, he said that. I swear to God, he said that.
Well, their navy is pretty much gone. No,
Yeah,
while we're at it, let's talk about mines. The Strait of Hormuz has been mined before, and it was done by Iran.
yeah.
And back then, we had minesweepers an awful lot closer because that was a hot spot. So now we've got folks that are out there sweeping up the mines that would otherwise take out civilian tankers. And my hat's off to the A-10 squadron over there. I have a very good friend that's an A-10 guy, and the A-10s, the Warthogs, are taking out mining boats as we speak. Those planes can loiter for a long, long time. And when they see a threat, they take it out.
Yeah.
They take it out big time. You ought to see the video. It's fantastic. So for you Iranians that think, well, let's just mine this thing and anybody that goes through will blow them up. Nah, you guys are going to have the same problem that the Venezuelan drug smugglers did. Your little fishing boats are going to be blown to hell, and you can go see Allah and get your 72 virgins.
They already have been. Most of them have been.
Yeah, good. You can get your homosexual virgins. My hat's off to you. So, okay. Enough for Iran, I guess. Our government, now Trump continues to kind of weed out the bad guys in this government. And there's a fellow named Joe Kent. I had never heard of this clown in my life before until about a week ago. And Joe Kent was the director of National Counterterrorism Center. That's another thing that I'd never heard of before. So I got my research tongs out and I started looking into this stuff. And the Counterterrorism Center advises the administration, executive branch, on what they think terrorism is going to look like in the next week or 2 weeks or 2 years. They're a predictive outfit. And this guy quit. He quit because he said the Iran war was not an imminent threat. And so he walked out. Well, turns out Hegseth had talked with him, and so had J.D. Vance earlier, several weeks ago, about his attitude about this stuff. And I think the two tried to convince him that indeed Iran was an imminent threat. Think about it. Since 1979, these guys have been howling death to America. How much more obvious does this need to be? And of course, the question is, how close to a nuclear bomb were they? Some people say years, some people say months, some people say 6 days. So, when you got that kind of threat, I would say that's an imminent threat. Let's take that out. And Trump did. He took out the majority of their nuclear materials refining capability. Took out a great deal of what they had.
By the way, I have to intercede here because I listened to the whole Dan Bongino's his podcasts because during my rehearsal yesterday, JP Maxwell was playing it. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" He says, "You got to listen to this." So I listened to part of it. Then I had the rehearsal and came back home and listened to most of it last night.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of his best friends is this Joe Kemp guy.
Yeah.
And he said the most degrading stuff about him in terms of what he's trying to pose about both Donald Trump, claiming that Donald Trump is not in charge of anybody because they're all being nasty about it and they don't like him, they hate him and all that crap. And then he's thrown Jews into it.
Well, of course.
And he's a Catholic. he's going to be speaking right next to, or at least he's scheduled to, if he isn't in jail yet, right next to Mike Flynn. And Mike Flynn is a good friend of one of my other guest stars, who is Adamo, Chris Adamo.
Yeah.
So, and he's doing the same crap that Candace Owens is doing.
That was the name that came to mind.
And
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson. Same stuff.
Yeah.
Always somewhere they're implicating something. And we've heard like this. It's been said that this is, and all of it ends with Israel.
It's all supposition. And it's
or Charlie Kirk. All of them were, Banjana was a great friend of Charlie Kirk and Erica. And he says it's amazing what Candace Owens, a new Catholic, and Tucker Carlson are doing in terms of putting the Jews in peril.
Yeah.
Especially.
According to Tucker Carlson, all of this is a Jewish conspiracy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all a Jewish conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We compose 0.2%. 0.2%. That's 15 million, give or take a million. All right. Jews, that's what we comprise of. And somehow, if we're powerful, we're looked at good on one hand. If we're not powerful, then we need to go. We're terrible. We're not really Jews because we came over from places like Ukraine and Poland, Russia. Yeah, mine was Ukraine, by the way. And we didn't have a choice. We were kicked out of Israel.
It was the diaspora.
By Rome in 60 AD to 70 AD. And we were slaves. 600,000 Jews were killed. And we were pushed out of there. The Jews even built the Colosseums, for God's sakes, for the Catholics.
That's slave labor.
Before it was Catholic, even. Yeah, it was slave. So I'm pissed off.
Yeah, Dave, you mentioned the Jews have power. Yes, they certainly do. They've got God on their side.
Yeah.
So you can say whatever you want. You can be anti-Semitic. You can say all these nasty things and do all these nasty things. And in the end, God is on the side of the Jews.
Well, and not only God, Jesus is a Jew. And so when they take out after the Jews, they're going to have to go before Jesus, according to their own doctrine. They have to go. They have to go, and then God Himself. That's their own doctrine. First you see Jesus, then you see God.
If you wish to be an anti-Semite, you need to do it at your own peril.
Well, and that's what I'm pointing out, because I have a lot of friends who are Catholics. And a lot of friends who go to churches where Jews are told, or people are told, that if Jews don't get with it, they're going to hell. Okay.
See, I know a number of Catholics as well, and we don't discuss religion very much, but I don't know any of them that are anti-Semites. So maybe this is the official capacity.
It's about 40 to 50% are anti-Semite, from what I heard. But that's a lot of people.
God has your name written down in the book.
Well,
we'll see how you fare.
It depends on which way, up or down. I
don't know.
Do you get an Uber either way? I don't know.
I don't know. Speaking of anti-Semitism, let's talk about the United Nations, possibly the most anti-Semitic outfit that there is.
Oh, yeah.
They're going broke. Donald Trump said, you guys need to pay your fair share, kind of like he did to the NATO allies. And if you don't, this thing can go bankrupt. Well, they're going bankrupt. The U.S. has dropped its support of the UN back to what it was contractually obligated to do. Looked like we've been supporting this thing for.
Well, Donald Trump is the key in supporting the UN, and with him going.
Let's face it, the UN has turned into a wacko leftist outfit. They are as big an anti-Semite as there is. If you look at their Security Council, they make some of the most idiotic decisions. that there are, and much of that anti-Israel. Well, okay, fine, go bankrupt. I'm fine with that. What do you say we take that big old building in New York City and turn it into veterans housing or something like that? Okay, something useful, and send the UN to France or some other faggoty place where it would fit much better. So yeah, goodbye UN. You're going broke. Fa la la. I'm
Well, I
happy.
think Trump had a lot to do with the UN being where it was. I think he owned the property and sold it to
I
probably
wouldn't be
town. They
surprised.
probably contributed it and went with it for his first term, and then all of a sudden on 10/7/23, it was known that some of the UN people were actually amongst the attack and the massacre of all those Jews.
That was some of the UN supposedly humanitarian folks
Yeah.
in supposedly helping the Palestinians, and in the end, crossed the border and invaded Israel. Yeah, those folks. That tells you the UN's vetting of folks is not very effective.
Yep.
Can we talk about the SAVE Act for a moment? This is near and dear to my heart. This is the Voting Rights Act, which is currently in the Senate. This thing passed the House, and it's in a contentious spot in the Senate. We've talked about the filibuster before. I won't belabor that.
Are you for or against that though?
Well, am I for or against it?
Yeah.
I think the 60 vote threshold on certain things is a very bad idea. So what Thune has talked about doing and is loath to do is reinstitute the talking filibuster. Right now, we've got a ghost filibuster. Any Democrat says, hey, I'm going to filibuster this, and it's stuck. Yeah. Now you got to exceed a 60 vote threshold. You're never going to get that.
Do you get the answer in one of those? Do you get time automatically when the other guys fill or whatever?
Yeah, the Democrats being the minority, each senator has two different occasions that they can talk without limit and try to talk this bill to death. Well, the good thing about that is it forces them to discuss the SAVE Act. It forces them to show their cards in as far as that's concerned, to show their negativity as far as the SAVE Act is concerned. That's a good thing. What Thune is concerned about is when the Democrats get the Senate back, and at some point they will, although if I had my way, they'd never see it again, they will kill the filibuster and put all of their legislation on a 51 vote margin. I wish the Republicans would do that. I think Thune is very foolish. I know what he's worried about.
I don't know. I mean, I'm about ready to hear the Democrats talk themselves out of the midterms.
I'd love to do that. There is another way around this, and that is if you attach this thing to a spending bill, you only have to have 51 votes, and J.D. Vance would be the deciding vote. That would be reconciliation. It's used in dollars all the time. Yeah. So that may be a way.
In other words, we're going to cut out a good portion of the bill in order to get that.
Well, slide it in as a spending bill. Something is better than nothing. And we have midterms coming up.
Right. And then come back with the transgender and the women in sports, the men in sports, I should say. Sure. Okay.
Yeah. It's
fine with me.
There's risk involved with all this stuff, Dave.
Yeah.
But when you look at the polling on the SAVE Act, Republicans and Democrats both 80+% are pro.
Right.
And among MAGA Republicans, it's 90+%. You don't see polling like numbers like that ever. So this is a very popular bill. And for the Democrats, they're going to die on this hill. They do the stupid thing again and again and again. They pick some ridiculous thing like their opposition to this legislation, and they die on that hill.
They don't die on the hill because we cave in most of the time.
I don't think we're going to cave in this time. I got to tell you that popular support for this thing is
we need the American public the 800 million people roughly that voted for Donald Trump this time. We need them to hear this. We need them to hear what the hell's up.
My goodness, I've been sending emails to these people again and again and again.
Yeah.
What the hell is the matter with you?
Yeah. And what happened in 2020? I think there's adequate proof that this was a stolen election.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
So
let me tell you, let me give you a little quote from the SAVE Act here. Jeff Merkley, who is a Democrat from Oregon, stupidly said in front of an open microphone the other day that the SAVE Act being passed would stop groups who typically vote Democrat. It would stop them. Well, you know who votes typically Democrat? The illegals. That's what this thing is designed
of course.
to eliminate. And for this guy to say it on an open mic, I'm sure he regrets that. I'm sure the DNC is beating him up in some.
Who doesn't understand that? And I guess some people don't understand that, or think really that some people actually think that people who invaded this country and are illegal by definition deserve a vote. Yeah. Okay, there's people like that, and we need to send them back to their ancestral home for the stupidity line they are producing.
Indeed.
I mean, give me a break.
Our Democrat Party has gone so far left, so far lunatic. I'm sure that John F. Kennedy, were he alive and he looked at our Democrat Party, would not recognize it. It makes Kennedy look an awful lot like a conservative.
Pretty sure.
So, this just amazes me, Dave. This is so extraordinarily interesting to me because I can't believe there's that much
hey
piled up in one pile. What are we doing here?
My wife just turns things on. It's like a ritual. She's got to turn things on that go right into my ear, and I have to stop listening to what you're saying.
I'm sharing your show.
Yeah, sharing the show. That's it. That's
just getting your attention.
Noise to be able to do that. It's not a noise thing.
It's you talking.
Oh God! All right, what were you saying, J?
Hell, I don't know. Let's. What do you say we close up with this? Because we're getting up against the clock.
All right. Well, before that, one more thing. Make it quick, and I want to get all these. We got a bunch of people calling in. By the way, if you want to call the show, 573-578-2700, or
you can also comment on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble.
All right, go ahead with your last thing.
All right, James Comey has been indicted. The Southern District, Florida Department of Justice, regarding the 2016 Russia probe. Comey has been indicted, along with John Brennan, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, a total of 33 folks that have been indicted. So DOJ is lifting up the skirt and looking inside. And I'm so pleased because, in my opinion, these folks are so very guilty.
The news today was that he was subpoenaed for the case from his doing stuff in silence with all these CIA officers and all the intel guys.
Doesn't this smell a lot like
that's a new one?
Doesn't this smell like a conspiracy to you?
I think most likely it's a slow pull, but our system is made to go slow. Our legal system is made to go slow. All right, give me the clippers here. Okay, John Jeffrey Bradshaw with a big smile and hearts in his eyes. Oh, so cute. Patricia O'Donnell. Maxwell, sounding good, looking good. Go team.
Good morning.
Shannon Reed, Roy Maddox. Good morning from Oklahoma.
Morning, Roy.
Shannon Reed. Good morning. Thank God it's Friday. Oh, I love when that's used. That's great. Thank you, Richard C. Jeffrey. Good morning, Dave, Lisa, and JP. Good morning, all the way from Illinois. Sharon passing, may we all spring together on this beautiful spring day. Is it spring?
Yes. First day of spring.
Oh,
It's today.
it's the 20th.
Yep.
And it's spring?
Yeah, officially.
Boy, oh boy, I got another one wrong. Richard C. Jeffrey, if the Democrats ever take control of the government, they will get rid of the filibuster, but we are too timid to do it before they do.
That's
Good point.
absolutely right, Richard.
And are we done with that? All right. Okay, we made it. We another tight situation, and JJ Bradshaw comes through. Let's hear it for JJ.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you.
I'll
Have a great
talk with you next Friday, brother.
Okay, brother, you got it.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, let's hit the commercials.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right down.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Okay, still wartime, Rabbi. He uses our dollars to house IDF widows and kids and keep with others like them. Please welcome all the way from Israel, my good friend Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, Dave. Got the time.
Turn him up. We'll listen to him now instead of turning him down so nobody can hear. Okay, Rabbi. So Iran's running out of leaders, as many more of them. I wrote this a couple days ago, so there's even more than that. Just days after they marched with Iranian civilians to celebrate their government. You'd think they'd wake up and open these jobs to Jews in Mossad, wouldn't they?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, I'd hope so.
I mean, they need protection.
Yeah.
Jeez. So how deep does your you're spying and you're finding out where everybody is in Iran? They know everybody and where they're at, even when they go to the tents.
Yeah, I mean, the Mossad, Israel spy agency, is noted as probably the best in the world at on the ground information, and Israel's very good at, for example, here in Israel, when we capture terrorists and we put them in prison, Israel's very good at turning them into spies for Israel. Are probably the most famous spy in the last decade. That's exactly how we turned him. He was the son of the founder of Hamas, and he became a spy for Israel. His book is called The Green Prince.
He's out there. I've heard him talk.
The son of Hamas, sorry, is his book. His code name was The Green Prince. But there's no doubt that high up in Iran's government that there are agents, I'm convinced, that are in the Mossad, or there are Iranians that are working for the Mossad, but one or the other.
Well, you've got a country with 20% of the Shias, and the rest are Persians,
right?
Who they're the ancient population there, and 47 years later, after Jimmy Carter gave it to them, to these whatever you call it, Husseins and stuff like that, then things are just not as friendly as they are elsewhere. Yeah. Now, what happens when you have the Hamas and all anti-Semites, and I can go back to the 6-7 war, all right, which was 7 days.
The 6-day war.
Yeah, 6-day war, and point out where each one of those people dropped out of they refused to talk to the UN. They refused to do anything. They said they got together. How many were there? About 7, 8
countries?
Yeah, against us.
Well, there was Egypt, Jordan, and Syria were the main players in that war.
Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all they were going to do was destroy the country. I think Israelis were scared to death. And they were not talking about beating Israel. They were talking about eradicating it. Okay,
Right.
they were from the river to the sea was born then, if not earlier, and they say it outright, and they beat him in 6 days, and now this thing is sort of like repeating itself.
Right.
What are you thinking about that?
You know you're winning when the haters are coming out in full force, because the only way that they can try to slow us down is through the propaganda and so on and so forth. But we've taken out, there is no more Iranian missile production. So whatever they have, and we've destroyed a large percentage of it, but their whole industry of producing missiles has been destroyed. We've taken out an unbelievable, it's like 70% of the IRGC, something like that, and in 2 short weeks. And it's been really incredible how quickly we've moved forward. Now, whether there's going to be regime change or not, that's up to the Iranian people, but we've taken out all the major leadership from Iran, and more to come. More to come.
I think they were warning these guys, saying the Mossad that we've got your address. Quit killing people.
Look,
people. Is that right?
Really up to the Iranians to take their country back. We're setting the table for them.
Exactly. That's I believe that's what Israel. That's what Trump wanted out of Israel, was to set it up to get it back, because the Persians don't hate Jews. They like Jews.
Look, but at the end of the day, if they're not going to grab their destiny by the horns and try to, do their part on the ground, the regime will remain in power. So
true.
That's what we got to pray for. We got to hope for that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And this week the Iranians murdered a champion wrestler, a 19-year-old. If you saw that in the news,
I saw that. Oh my God! I saw them. I think they were in court.
Yeah,
and there were other. I guess there was another wrestler sitting next to him. I think he might have gotten killed too. But these are just kids, and they went to a protest. That's what happened.
Right.
And these were international athletes.
Right. Look, the problem with these guys is that they're not Westerners. They don't think like you. They don't think like me. There's 90 million people in Iran. If we literally killed 89,999,099, they'll still say they won the war.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fight an enemy like that. But, that's why we need the Iranian people to step up, or else we're just going to keep bombing them. And at some point it'll stop and the regime will declare victory. That's
well, maybe that's where we're headed. However, we'll see, because there's a lot of pressure all over the world. But Trump's a smart guy. Let's see what he can do. Tell me about Bibi hitting Qatar's oil facilities and Trump getting mad over it.
Yeah, Iran, not Qatar. Look,
Iran.
I never know what to believe. You know what I'm saying? Like when Trump says things, Bibi says things, and we've seen it be a smokescreen for some strategy.
Yeah, right.
So I heard what Trump said. I saw what Israel did, but I'm taking everything with a grain of salt. Maybe, that's the good cop, bad cop routine, where, Trump told him, bomb the oil field and then I'll scold you. And so they'll be afraid that, if I let you go, so to speak, then we're going to bomb more there, So who knows?
Well, in and of itself, Jews are being blamed for everything by all these Christian Catholics, not Christians, but some Catholics, like, you get the Tucker Carlsons and this guy, Joe Kemp. Did you read about him?
Yeah.
He's now delivering anti-Semitic BS that he never did before.
Yeah.
So somebody said, well, how did this happen? I says, well, he was influenced by Dollar Bill. And I got a big response to it this morning.
Right. And look, we all know the truth be told. They hated us when we're rich. They hate us when we're poor. They hate us, when we're not white, or they hate us because we are white. We're not white enough. They hate us. The excuses just change, but the hatred remains, and they're just looking for excuses. And I confronted a guy on Facebook who wrote something anti-Semitic, and I said, "Oh, I guess all the anti-Semites are coming out from under the stones." And he says, well, he responds, at least he's honest that he's an anti-Semite. He says, well, now we finally have leadership, like guys like Tucker or whatever. So I wrote,
he was commenting on that.
He was serious. We have leadership to
follow. What about Kamala?
Yeah. So I wrote back to him. I said, yeah, it's true. You do have leadership now, but study a little bit of history, because this doesn't end well for you. Your days are numbered. So, it's like the reality is that it's given the haters excuses to come out. It's not that they stopped hating. It wasn't polite. And now they have all the excuses in the world to say and do whatever they want. And no amount of reason or rational argument is going to convince anyone. They just want to hate, and that's what they continue to do.
I've some incredible stuff coming out of both Israel and others who are commenting on this. Where is let's see, that one's got.
I got one called Jewish Haters. Is that the right one?
Yeah. Okay. Do that one. Okay.
This is a crash course on how to become a Jew hater, according to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. If a government is strong, that means the Jews control the government. But if a government is weak, that means the Jews undermine that government. If Jews are poor, that means that they're parasites, leeches off the government. And if Jews are rich, that means that they're exploiters who took advantage of you to build their own wealth. If Jews have no power, they deserve exactly what happens to them. If Jews have power, they're aggressors and they're the cause of the problem. If Jews are stateless, they're rootless and untrustworthy. If they have a state in a country, they're occupiers and colonizers. If they are victims, then they're exaggerating what happened. But if they survive, they are manipulating your sympathy. If they assimilate, they're infiltrating society. But if they don't assimilate, if they remain distinct, then they refuse to integrate. There is no winning or pleasing anyone who is a Jew hater. They don't hate you because they have reasons. They will make reasons to hate you. And people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, whichever way the wind blows, they will find a way to blame every problem on the Jewish people. Therefore, stop trying to impress these people. Be proud of who you are and be the best Jew that you can be.
What do you think?
I did see that. I think it's 1,000% accurate.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's no arguing.
Makes sense.
You can't talk sense into people that have no sense.
We have 15 million, maybe 60 million, 0.2% of the whole amazing problem to people, and have been for, since, 4,000 years ago, roughly. I mean, it's an incredible religion, and yet we were the ones picked by God to have a country.
Yeah. Well, I did you see my post from Facebook this week? I don't know if you saw it. A guy wrote to me. He says, "You're sitting in other people's homes and land that you occupied and annexed in the first place. Go back to Brooklyn." That's what he writes to me.
Yeah.
So I wrote back to him, "Brooklyn? Seriously? Can all you haters and anti-Semites get your story straight? Some other guy told me to go back to Poland. So which is it?"
Yeah.
I was all packed to go to Poland, and then I saw your post. Should I switch my plane ticket? Yeah,
get Tucker Carlson. And what's his name?
I got it here.
Yeah, and Huckabee.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, this is a quick one. Sure. So, yeah, it's incredible how these people are stepping up. They're getting money. Candace Owens is getting paid.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson's getting paid. Hell, he's building a house in Qatar. Yeah, hit it.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
What did it cost to move the fleet off Iran into the Persian Gulf?
A lot less than it would to bury a lot of Americans if they ever got a long-range ballistic missile. A lot less.
Yeah,
Tucker, I want you to understand that when Iran has told us for 47 years they're going to kill us, do you think they would do it if they had the capacity militarily?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good. Yeah, another Tucker Carlson faux pas. Or he's what has happened right now? Is something happening to the Christians where they're being physically, not physically, but mentally more hateful towards Jews since maybe 1,000 years ago, or I don't know. When was it this bad? Do we need another Holocaust to have them feel sorry for us again?
Well, yeah, I think if you look back at history, the last time it was this bad was in the 1930s before World War II. As in the lead to World War II. The main difference is that we have a state, and as our Prime Minister Golda Meir once said, "I'd rather be condemned than be dead." And she's right. Let the world condemn us. Let them think what they think. Let them say what they say. But I'd rather be alive. And we have to do what we think is in our best interest to protect our citizens, to protect our own lives. And just leave us alone already. And I've said to many of the Muslims that keep writing, you're from Brooklyn. I tell them, hey, the word Arab, where does that come from, dude? It comes from Arabia, because Arabs are from the Arabian Peninsula. So get the heck out of our land and go back to the Arabian Peninsula. So don't give me this crap. Jews are from Judea. Where do you think the word comes from? And Arab comes from Arabia. So stop telling me that we took your land. This has been the home of the Jewish people for thousands of years. And there's been Jews here always.
So
and these guys are just as dumb as doornails. It's not your land. Yeah, like you're a freaking Arab. You're living in Malaysia. It's like you get an Arab living in Pakistan telling me it's not your land.
One of the people that objects to me says, well, what happened? Weren't you supposed to be given a lot more land? And I said, be patient.
Exactly.
Because that was God's map, wasn't it? He sort of gave a map out to.
Days are coming, folks. Days are coming. Just hold on.
Yeah.
And enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and I've got other guys that are out there saying, and I did this in my monologue. I'm saying Christians, mostly it's Catholics, because they're showing themselves differently than I've seen before. But I understand that all through history they've been doing bad stuff to the Jews. But I said to them, you need to be a Jew. I once called the guy who was the head of abortions, stopping abortions for the Catholic Church, for the whole Catholic Church, because he contacted me. I ran a few articles about how bad abortion is, and what it does to the women and things like that. And this guy had said, not bad for a Jew. And I said, thank you. Yeah, whatever. And then he contacts me back and says, you need to be a Christian. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I'm happy where I'm at. And he got a little nasty. You're going to have punishment because you won't become a Christian or a Catholic. So I wrote back to him. I says, you know what? I know three things. There is a God. You're not him. And neither am I. Never heard from him again.
Right.
Never heard from him again. So this is an attitude that needs to be fought by Jews.
Look, the Catholic Church has always had a problem with Jews and Israel, especially Israel, because the number one prophesied event in the Hebrew Bible, in the Tanakh, is the return of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. Now, the Catholic Church always said that prophecy should not be read literally. What that prophecy means is that the church is going to inherit Israel. And so in 1948, when the state of Israel was declared, the Catholic Church had a very serious problem. The Protestants, evangelicals who read the Bible literally, sola scriptura, like we do, didn't have a problem, but the Catholics did. And they've never wanted to acknowledge the Jewish people are back in our homeland until 1994, where you had a very righteous Pope.
Yes.
But other than him, the Catholic Church does not want Israel to exist because it goes against their theology of replacement theology.
Even
And
the current one, he's a White Sox fan in Chicago, or he was, and his brother is a conservative, a Catholic, who he loves the Cubs.
Yeah.
You know.
So I guess, I mean, I don't want to disparage White Sox fans, but the current Pope is like, it doesn't mean all White Sox fans, but the current Pope is he has not come down at all on the side of Israel. And I understand why, because in his theology, Israel should not exist.
Yeah. Well, but see, the problem is when these guys die, when a Catholic who is an anti-Semite die, there it is. What are you doing? Huh? Oh, thanks. Always something. It's always something. All right. So when Catholics die, and they hate Jews, and they go to wherever they go after they die, they're going to be met by who? If Jesus is the Messiah, as they say, they're going to meet with Jesus. And he, as a Jew who had a Jewish mother, he had a Jewish, all the apostles were Jewish. Everybody he knew was Jewish. Yeah, he fought with some of the people that were working for the Romans. Yet they're going to have to deal with Jesus, the Jew. And there's people that are saying that, the way this is going is that Israel is going to be the place to be for all these churches. And if they're not in jiggy with Jesus, they won't be in jiggy with God.
Right. I don't think that they necessarily think like that.
Well, that's my point.
Right.
Actually, it's actually a service to them to listen to that because they could be killing themselves in a way that's such that they won't get to heaven like they think they're gonna.
Right.
And for me, I die, and Jesus greets me, and I says, "Can I speak to your Father, God?" And we have a conference, and they convince me, okay, well, he's the guy. Yeah, all right, I'm fine.
Right.
Well, I don't see it happening, but what would you do? Yeah, you can't answer that, can you? Well, seriously. I mean, there's a lot of people that pretended they were God and or the Savior, and in Israel, and most of them were not very good at it. But whatever Jesus did, I remember we went to remember where the caves were, and all the documents from finding all those ancient things were, and a lot of them were around the time of Christ.
Yeah.
I said, so where's any talk about Jesus? And you said, well, I don't know. What was that about? I thought at least they would have had mentioned him somewhere.
Right. You're talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, look, Christian scholars were excited when they were discovered, thinking that he would be. He's not. But let's also just say very clearly, the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, as they say. In other words, because there's no evidence, you can't find evidence that the Jewish people the Israelites crossed the Red Sea. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's called in archaeology, they say the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So, some things sound logical, but it doesn't, You would think that
well,
it would be true, but
this is Catholic logic. Catholic logic is we're not from Israel. We don't speak the language. We came from places like your wife did, Poland, and me, the Ukraine. Maybe some of my relatives from Germany because I have a name Weinbaum, and some from Russia and all this stuff. But we can't be Jews because somehow we don't have Jewish blood. So they want all the Jews in the world to take a blood test. I'm serious. This is Tucker Carlson saying it. He said it. Okay. And you know, and I argue this with a good friend of mine who happens to be a Catholic, Mark McCloskey. You love this guy, but he is what he is. And he's believing all this crap. And I says, you're a smart guy. What's the matter with you? Oh, and I'm going to give him hell in about an hour and a half.
God waits for no man, so I got to get going.
All right. I understand. I drew you out too far. Look at this. I got this much more interview for you, but we're going to have to do this some time.
Oh, listen to that. Hear that?
Oh, you got to go?
You hear that? That's a warning that alerts are expected in the next few minutes and so on. Here, you'll
get off here?
Here, live and in person, an actual alert.
Can you believe that? No, there's a scoop. How many of you had heard this? I don't want to elevate this to the show, but it did happen. Okay, right here.
Here, let me show you a second. Here, so you can see my phone clearly.
Yeah.
See, we get these alerts on our phone.
Yeah.
And, saying it means that there could be a missile in our area any minute. So,
okay, well, get the hell out of here. I'm not going to say anymore. Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat shalom.
All right. Best. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I do want to let
make sure everybody knows that if they want to know where they can go and catch or buy a copy of Rabbi's book, Secrets of the Hebrew Bible, there's a website there. It's also in the comments there. And also hear more about the Israel Alliance, you can go to israelalliance.org or to their Facebook page. The link is there. It's also in the comments as well.
And I can't leave without the joke I was going to tell. Did you hear about the Dutch boxer who was disqualified?
No.
Yeah, you got to pose for the rabbi here.
No, I didn't.
He hit his opponent. He hit his opponent in the Netherlands.
I knew it would have something to do with Netherlands. I knew it.
It's the one I thought would be good for him because it's a funny joke. You see? All right.
I think he would have laughed.
So here we are. Play some funny stuff for God's sakes.
Which ones? We've got a lot of funny
stuff. I know. Let's go into some of these dances. Baby Trump with the leaning dais. You got that?
Let me look. Oh, that one? Yeah, was not able to find it yet. It's
okay.
They've got it buried somewhere.
Well, do a Baby Trump one.
We had the one from the State of the Union, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, do it.
To get this one pulled up.
Okay.
State of the Union was not that long ago.
And do Nick Shirley Greenland next. We'll be right with you, ladies and gentlemen, as my producer, JP Maxwell, gets jiggy with it. Yeah, Did I say the words jiggy?
I think so.
A couple times. I don't know.
A couple times on the show today. Yeah.
What are you going to do? That you're going to do. Okay, there it is.
As we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here? Doubt it. Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay.
Yeah, now we're going to do the next one.
All right, good.
Of the United States. Now let's go talk to the people here in Greenland. How do you guys feel about becoming part of the United States?
It's good.
Would you rather be a part of the United States or Denmark?
United States.
And you? United States or Denmark?
United States.
What makes you guys excited about potentially becoming a part of the United States?
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
We want fast food.
Now let's go.
You got everything you want to do. I'm going to go national, I think, on getting more sponsors and things, because it's an international show, for goodness sakes. We're all over the world. Things are thriving here, and I don't need to do this for a living, thank God. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of fun. If I had done this as a living, who knows? I could have been on... I could have been in Humpty Dumpty, or whatever. I mean, what I could have done is beyond me, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to be beyond me. So let's see. What else do I got here? I got lots of stuff. I've been writing this
Chuck
stuff.
Norris just died.
What?
Chuck Norris just died.
Oh, Chuck Norris just died.
Yeah, 86.
Wow. But he was 86. Wow, but he died. It's always a sad day.
Yeah, I saw where he was hospitaled yesterday, but now,
well,
no more.
No more. Thank you for that. All right, keep feeding me that stuff. There's this thing called Quantum Financial System, IDS, and they're talking about this. It's a thing that operates like the sun, and it creates heat. Now, right now it's expensive, but they're talking about this for like 2030, where this will replace weak electricity and buck it up, or become the electricity itself. So this is the next thing that's coming. Like NVIDIA is AI. AI is huge. I use AI for my monologue, and typically I get, it's one thing. I made sure I hid my identification because they know who I am. I ask about the show, and I've done monologues with them before. But it's interesting from the point of, I guess you could make it work one way or the other, but it also gives you a lot of what they're saying. It gives them it gives you the sources of where they're going within seconds about getting their information. And I find that to be very helpful, and that's why it's popular, because it is helpful. You got these movies out there. I've talked to a guy named Fenton. Chris Fenton. He's a real Hollywood big shot. He's been on the show. I'm going to try to get him back, but he sends me stuff on occasion, which are very interesting. He sent me an interview with him and another person who was very talented. And they talked about AI. And they talked about movies. And he says, these days, Kristen, we have a problem in Hollywood. We have a problem there. We used to make $80 out of every show. 80% of it was profit. He says now it's down to 5%. And a lot of it is because we can't afford to pay all these people. And they all have union size, money coming to them. So if we have a kid movie and we gotta have about 50, 60 kids there, but not all of them are there to be on every shot. Then we have to still pay the other kids, and then we have to accord for their health and their wealth and their ability to behave and keep them occupied. It's expensive. Now with AI, we can do movies like Disney movies, and like let's say King David. We went and saw that. My wife and I went and saw that movie. What did you think of that movie, honey?
I thought it was great.
Great, but it was a cartoon.
It was inspiring, though.
But it was inspiring
And the
for you and for me from two different. Yeah.
Phil Wickham rocks in that movie.
No,
Phil Wickham.
Fillican.
Wickham is how it's
Wickham. Is
spelled.
that one of the producers or?
That is the lead singer on the movie. He was David.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was, that's always been my favorite biblical story is, not that I was very religious, but, well, that's part of it, I guess, David. I was given the name David because my uncle was named David. My grandfather was named Michael. He's the one that came over from, not Russia, but Ackerman, in Ukraine, which was right next to Odessa on the Black Sea there, and but they were killing Jews way back then too, and this was Christians killing Jews, Catholics killing Jews. Okay, so I'm one of those persons that I just don't want to. I don't want that thing to spread. I want what Jesus wanted. I want people to love each other, and don't do this to each other. Don't pick on somebody because you're bigger. That's what it all comes down to. We're bigger. We're going to squeeze this little punk out of here. I'll tell you a little story. When I was 10, we have a park. It's called Central Park. I lived in Skokie, Illinois. I could walk to this park, which was in Evanston. And I often did. And we had Little League games. We had ice skating rinks. We had all sorts of stuff, pools. And there was a church on a corner called St. Anne's. And they issued out this proclamation. We are the CPKK, Central Park Kike Killers. And Jews are no longer allowed in this park. Now, that came from the Catholic Church. Well, there was an uprising. The Jews came out, probably some Christians and Catholics in backing up our position, which was we're not going anywhere. You're going to have to kill us to get us out of here. And there was the other side too, which was the Christ killer, the Central Park Christ killers. They were there to kick us out and or do worse. Cops were there and everything. I don't think there was any violence, and it ended, I think, in one day. But that stands with me as a 10-year-old child, or 10, 11, 12, roughly in that area. And it's not a new thing. I used to think when I was first born, 10 years old, that the Holocaust was an individual action that never happened again like that or before. And then I started to look at some of the history and said, this has been going on for a lot of years, and a lot of years the Jews were being picked on, and they were fighting for what I saw as the land that was given to Abraham by God and extended by what happened on when the Jews were taken taking, Passover, where they had to hide in their homes, and the first child weren't killed like the ones in the Egyptians. And that hatred has never stopped. Now, Muslims, a lot of Muslims are, not enough Muslims are fine with Jews. They're fine. We come from basically the same family, okay? They're Arabs, we're Jews, okay? But being Muslim, if you're really religious, if you're Shia, you don't just want to live with Jews. You want to kill the Jews. You don't want Jews anywhere around you. You want them eradicated. So that has to be fought. That has to be fought. And that's what Israel is doing right now, in their own land. And the reason, as the rabbi said, they can do this is because they do have their own land, and it was given to them by God. And the situation to where, okay, well, God also promised you a lot more land. How come you don't have it? My response, just wait. That was given to us by God, and God works in mysterious ways. Anyways, before I turn into a preacher here, because I have one as a wife.
Too late.
Too
late.
But I'm not an official preacher.
No, but you're going to talk about religion all day. I can see that already.
Well, that's what's happening right now. We're having a religious war with a country that's a huge country, about 100 million people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they have a philosophy of killing you, and if they get killed, they get 72 virgins of virgins, I guess, and there you go. And they're out there killing anyone that disagrees with them in Iran. They're killing them left and right, and they're even killing their citizens, like their athletes, people that leave them. They threaten their families. They will hang a woman just as well as a man, and they will kill a woman who doesn't have her top her hair hidden by a burqa or whatever. Burqa, isn't it?
It's a terrible regime, and we were working desperately to change that.
Well, yeah, and I think that should help. All right, let's do another commercial, and we're going to come back with Chris Adamo, I believe. Yeah, Chris is all worked up about stuff. I know that already because I can tell. Oh, really?
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Oh my God, I'm loud. I scared myself. Donald, I'm sorry. I think I scared him. I mean, his thumbs were like there and all this like this, and now there's something like this. Maybe the war just ended. Gee, you never know,
We can't call in reinforcements.
I mean, it's a little scary to have him in here.
Back in the day, they'd say if you want something solved, just call Chuck Norris, and we can't do that now.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah.
No, he was a good man, wasn't he? Yeah. He was a tough guy.
Yeah.
He was in how many movies was he in? Do you know?
Ton of movies, did TV shows. Walker Texas Ranger was on, seemed like forever. So
yeah. All right. Well, I'm all excited now because I got another guest coming, and this man is an expert on the horrors of socialism and communism. He's a good friend of General Flynn, who we need to talk about for a moment. He's a writer, and he's a United States hero. He's tried to straighten out his home state, which is Wyoming. I don't know why he calls it his home state, but he does.
I was born there.
He likes the pizza. Please welcome Chris Adamo. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, I was born in Wyoming. That's why it's my home state.
Oh, I thought you were born in somewhere else.
No,
California.
No.
You weren't born in California, were you?
I was not born in California. I did live in
I
California.
wasn't born in California. But now I'm in Wyoming. Okay, enough of that. So here you go. Your friend and your cohort, General Flynn. I found him in a picture next to Joe Kemp. As no, it wasn't Joe Kemp. It was Candace Owen.
Candace, yeah, both of them. It was both of them.
Yeah, and Kemp is going to be there too. You know who Joe Kemp is?
Yeah. I'm going to claim a little bit of ignorance on this because I did not see what speech he gave at that event. I will say that if it was me, there's no way I'd show up on stage with those two. It's you know,
well,
you could push guilt by association too far, but I'm telling you, those two, they're about some real nefarious stuff. And so, I'm. And I will also say in Flynn's defense that when he talks about the Iran war, and I've checked stuff that he said since then, that he's on the right side of it. It's a huge enemy. We need to defeat them. They've been a looming threat for decades. If we don't totally, here's the key, Dave. This is the point that the most important point of this situation. If we don't totally eradicate the IRGC, the Iranian Republican Guard Corps, if we don't totally eradicate them and get them replaced, get the Shah back in there, whatever threats that they have posed to us with their ICBMs and their attempts to build nukes, those threats still exist. It's just a matter of time, and they're going to reassert that.
Okay, I want you to look up Dan Bongino, his show on 319. Or is it 3? Yeah, 3.
Just yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened to that or not.
I listened to a clip from it, and he just ripped Kent apart.
Yes,
and
he's his good friend. He's like his best friend.
There is a movement going on, and I'm probably going to make excuse me. I'm probably going to make you mad and everybody else mad in this movement in explaining this, because there's this thing that happens if we're not careful and we get told, if you're going to be a good whatever, you have to believe such and such. Okay. Now there's places where we do that. There's places where we go to the Holy Scriptures and God says, if you're going to do things right, you do them my way. That's fine. But you get to the point where I come along and say, well, I'm a Baptist. If you're going to be a good Baptist, you have to do what I say.
Yeah.
Now I'm not pointing up to God. I'm pointing to me. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no, and this is where I may make some people in your audience mad. There is no group that has been worse in the last 2,000 years in doing this than the Catholic Church.
You could have been sitting in my chair and telling my audience that.
Well, I'm going to tell you the same thing. If you look at the modern Orthodox Jewish religion, you're going to see the same thing. Forget what God's word says. Listen to us. Okay. The minute you're doing that,
Tell me which group of Jews does that.
We can talk into it. We can go into a whole discussion of that. But the point is, the minute you do that, I'm
not aware of it.
Okay, I know you're not. We'll work on that. I'm working on you. But the minute you do that, Dave, you're pointing. Don't look at God. Look at me. Okay.
Yeah.
The minute you do that, it's described in Scripture as idolatry. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that being the case, there is a movement, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for the moment. I haven't heard this come directly from Pope Leo, but there is a movement among the Catholics that if you're going to be a good Catholic, forget what Scripture says. Forget what Scripture says about Abraham, about God's chosen people,
right?
About God's covenant with Abraham through the New Testament. It's in there. Jesus says it. The Apostle Paul says it. It's all the way to the book of Revelation, the last book in the Bible. Okay, it's in there, but you're going to ignore that and listen to me. What I tell you is, well, God, God's covenant with Abraham, he said, the nations that bless you, I will bless. Well, for a while, then I'm going to change my mind. And I'm going to bless these guys over here instead, because I'm kind of wishy-washy. I don't make up my mind. No, he didn't say that. Point is, when God makes a covenant, it's forever. He made that covenant. Now, do we uphold our end of the bargain properly? No, we don't. You can read, you could read the modern so-called woke churches. They've abandoned that. You can read throughout the Old Testament, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Jeremiah. You can read where ancient Israel, they dropped the ball so many times. Okay, but
they have.
They screw up. We screw up. God doesn't screw up, and he never changes. He's the same yesterday and today forever.
Yeah, that's
okay.
that's
Now,
what they're not considering.
With all of that in mind, there's this group, and again, I'm not at this point. I don't know if it goes all the way up to Leo, but there's a group that says if you're a good Catholic, you have to hate Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, think about this. Think about the fact that this has just erupted in the last couple of months. I'll tell you when it erupted big time. It was back when Charlie Kirk got shot, because there was a huge Christian revival that happened as a result of that. They saw a good man be martyred by an evil, and they saw not only did that happen, but in the immediate aftermath, they saw all of these people rejoicing that he got murdered. Okay, so it's like good and evil were really on big display there when that happened. Okay, it was in the immediate aftermath of that there was this big revival. So the enemy of the revival, the enemy of Christ, comes up and says, we've got to derail this somehow. We got to fracture this. So they come up with this whole anti-Semitism thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, most Christians, I'll even go so far as to say all Christians who understand Scripture understand Israel's role from Abraham to Revelation. They understand that. That's Genesis, the first book in the Bible, to Revelation, the last book. Christians understand that, okay? But you got a bunch in there that, well, they call it replacement theology. This is where God says, okay, I'm going to pick and choose from day to day, and I'll open my covenant, then I'll close it whenever I feel like it, okay?
God never does that.
Never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. But these people have come along in the last couple of months and said, and this is the crux, if you're going to be a good Catholic, you have to hate Israel. Now, if you want to see who's really behind this, there's a couple of groups behind this. Look on the college campuses. On one week, you see these people out there dressed in their, what do they call it, Kiafa, their pro-Palestine thing. They're screaming about Gaza genocide and all of that. They're so for the Palestinians, right? They hate Israel. They're pro-Palestine. The same group of people the next week are out there anti-ICE with their Antifa and their BLM costumes on and everything. It's the same group of people. So what we understand with this, watching that, is it's a subversive movement. And there's a lot of people that tune in once a week and they're confused. What's going on?
I've taken this to a different level in my monologue. I asked Grock, AI, I asked Grock this. Jesus is the Catholic Messiah. He was born a Jew and prayed to God. Do anti-Semitic Catholics have a problem with Jesus or God when they die? Now, I didn't say my name. It didn't know who I was, but it came back with this answer, which was a shock. It said, yes. From a Catholic theological perspective, anti-Semitic Catholics have a profound inconsistency and thus a serious spiritual problem with both Jesus and God. Catholic belief holds that every soul faces particular judgment by Christ himself immediately after death. Unrepented, grave sins such as deliberate, sustained hatred, separate a person from God. Jesus explicitly commanded, love thy neighbor, love your enemies. Now, it goes on to talk about that, but here's my point. Look, Catholics need to heed this because they're going to come up most likely, and if it's Jesus is the Savior, as they say, they're going to have a problem with him because he's a Jew. And who have they been talking trash about for the last 2,000 years? The Jews. So right away, they got a problem. And then who knows what could happen, but it could go to God and maybe have a Supreme Court kind of God. I don't think that's the case.
No.
Okay. So what I'm saying is save yourself. Leave the Jews alone.
Okay. First of all, I'm not going to go quite to the point of looking to the gospel according to Grock. However, having said that,
Okay.
I'm going to go back to the Holy Scriptures. The Holy Scriptures from Genesis to Revelation, they say nothing about hating the Jews as part of your Christian walk or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I didn't have the scriptures on hand right here, but I can go through the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I can go through the book of Acts. I can go through the epistles of Paul and I can show you where there is nothing in there about we have to be anti-Semitic in order to be a good Christian. It's a total contradiction, okay? Because Jesus right on his cross, even the Romans stuck it up there. It said, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Jesus is Jewish, okay? Jesus is on his father's side. He's a son of Abraham. On his mother's side, he was conceived of the Holy Spirit. Okay, and we can get into that if you want. That's a whole nother thing. But as far as our conversation with God comes down to, I can give you a couple of verses that are key on this. Revelation 3:20. Go look it up. Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock. Okay, if any man will let me in, then I'll come into him. Okay, now that is the defining factor of whether or not you are a Christian. Nothing in there saying, by the way, you have to hate the Jews. Okay, there are plenty of scriptures in there about not attacking God's people, both Old Testament and New Testament. There is a lineage that God chose from Abraham, and that's the Jewish lineage. That doesn't give Jews or anybody else a pass. The Apostle Paul explains this. It doesn't give anybody a pass on anything, but God has a plan in there. The plan is bigger than you and me. The plan is his plan for the world. The plan is to take the lineage of Abraham. Okay, now, some of us are fortunate enough to get adopted into that lineage because we received Jesus. Doesn't mean I necessarily instantly like gefilte fish, which I do, by the way. But the point being that...
But only on your pizza.
No, I love gefilte fish. Gefilte fish on pizza is a bit more than I can even try. And I don't like anchovies on pizza. Anyway,
I eat a lot of Italian food, too.
I know. There's hope for you. So... But the point here is that this anti-Semitism thing is anti-Christian. And I'm going to give you a defining issue here, that Jesus said he gave his life willingly as a sacrifice for our sins. Now, have I sinned? I have sinned. Believe it or not, Dave, you might be surprised. I've sinned. Okay, what does that mean? That means I was one of those who drove the nail into his hand. Okay. Yeah. Jesus gave, so I was one of those who was guilty. Okay. But if you come out and say, you, the Catholic or the anti-Semite, come out and say the Jews killed Jesus, you're ignoring scripture and you're ignoring his sacrifice for your sins. Okay. Now, if I have made everybody mad enough by now, let me just explain to you what's really going on in this situation.
What's interesting is I'm not mad at all. I think I like what you're saying.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Okay. There's hope for you. Anyway, now we're going to take a total left turn here on this whole thing, because what's really going on here, what you and I have been discussing, is not the root problem, it's the symptom. Okay. The root problem is that we have, take it back to Washington, D.C., we've got this president who has been politely saying kicking butt for the last year, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop. If he succeeds, he and Netanyahu, if they succeed in eradicating the IRGC, the Islamists, setting the Persian people free so they can be their own culture like they were under the Shah, thrive. They weren't exporters of terrorism. They're not a bunch of bearded maniacs running around with scimitars trying to kill everybody. These are good people. They're pro-Western people. They've been this way. They got overtaken by this despotic regime.
Oh, Persians.
Yeah. And they got overtaken by these Islamist monsters. And it's no different than if you look at what happened in North Korea, where they're under this brutish communist dictator. Okay. So if Trump and Netanyahu succeed in getting rid of this, it's an existential threat, not only to the surrounding countries, we've seen that in the last couple of weeks, but to really the rest of the world. Just imagine if they'd have gotten nukes, the stuff they would have done in the last couple of weeks. Okay. So Trump gets rid of them. Guess who the biggest loser is? This is where I take a right turn on you, or a left turn. The biggest loser is the CCP, the Communist Chinese, because The Iranians have been their number one foot soldier to commit havoc and mayhem around the world by proxy. Okay, China is actually. I'm convinced, and I keep in mind. I said this. Write it down. It'll come out eventually. China is behind this Tucker, Candace, Joe Kent psyop. It's a manipulation. They are behind it.
Who's behind it?
China, the communist
China.
Chinese. Because if they can,
Nick,
look at what they succeed with. If they can drive this wedge right now into the heart of this huge Christian revival that we saw last fall, that's ongoing. If they can drive a wedge of division in there, they can neutralize that. If they can restore the mullahs and ayatollahs in Iran, they maintain their front army across the other side of the world to keep the geopolitics off balance. But if they lose all of that, look what happens if they lose all of that. We are suddenly in a much more powerful position in a much more stable world. And the one thing communism needs in order to advance itself, the one thing it has needed from the days of Karl Marx, it needs instability. It needs suffering and chaos. And if we stabilize things and free these people, and release the entire area of this terrorist threat, China's the big loser.
It is a worldwide thing. You're talking about Iran, or you're talking about Venezuela. All of this first was posed as the Western Hemisphere, but it did affect the oil from Venezuela a lot, because now that hemisphere is growing and growing, and now it's taking place in places that are almost like the Middle East and also the Asian.
Guess who lost the most when Venezuela when Trump turned that situation around?
China, Cuba, but China especially. Oh yeah, because they were using the Venezuelan oil, and we got rid of a dictator, and lost nobody.
And
we're not losing. It's a shame that we have as many killed as possible. We're talking about a huge war, and we've lost about 12, 13.
Yeah. And one life lost is a tragedy. But how many Americans have been killed by the Iranians since the mullahs and the ayatollahs got in power?
Thousands.
And it was ongoing, and the plans. This is the key part. The plans were for much more.
Yeah. Oh, sure. And that's what they were getting. The info was that they had 60% completion of a workable nuclear bomb, and we're going to go with it, and we're not going to listen to you. So what the hell? They said that in the face of all these ships up and down the coastline of Iran. So, they were going to do it anyways. And they're still wanting to do it.
Remember the guys flying the planes into the towers? Do they think twice about their own fate because they're doing it for Allah? And there's 72 virgins.
The 72 virgins of virgins. So
yeah, there was a huge threat there. It's been there. We have been living in fear of it. Now think about this, and I take this back to Jimmy Carter, who was a Democrat, by the way. We have been living in fear of the Iranians for the last half century.
Yeah.
And what did you just say a minute ago? How many Americans have died in this war so far? It was a handful. And again, I hate the fact that even one died. But the point is, I mean, this was, if you listen to the Iranians and the leftists, which, by the way, they sound an awful lot alike. Note that. Okay. It's going to be a mass slaughter. It's going to be just terrible. Body bags. It's been nothing of the kind. And at this point, we are teetering on the brink of eradicating this. George Bush, even though I'm not a big fan of George Bush, he referred to them as the axis of evil. Okay. They were a key linchpin in geopolitics in promoting evil. And we're looking at eradicating them with virtually zero loss of American life.
Well, look at who really went for Iran. Obama. They have a picture of him and the Ayatollah at the time. He was bending over to him. He was bending over, head down.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to kiss him.
Now I've heard that picture was photoshopped. It may or may not be, but he did an awful lot.
Maybe
he did an awful lot of that.
Theoretically, he did, but he was going around apologizing for America.
Okay. Meanwhile, he gives Iran, first of all, the green light. You got the right to have an atom bomb if anybody else does.
There you go.
And then he gives them the money to do it. Okay.
Yeah. Gives them the money to do it in the dark of night, in a boat that nobody knew about for a while, and they never denied this didn't happen. And they kept that hope. They helped that hope of Iran, which is run by the Shias, who are the ones that say, kill them all, basically kill everybody, but true Muslims, even other Muslims.
Yeah,
they're bombing Saudi Arabia these days and places like that. So Israel is almost a forethought, which is surprising because Israel turned out to be really, really good at this war, and still are.
Okay, let's go back to 1967. You remember the 6-Day War?
Yes.
Every Arab country on that side of the world attacked Israel at once.
We have a clip on that. Play that clip about the old war, 6-7 war. I want to play a clip for you.
We're never going to get around to Wyoming, are we? I really want to talk about Wyoming.
Yeah, well,
okay, yeah. I'll have to find out the show page real quick.
Okay. Yeah. Keep going. I'll tell you when it is. Keep going. We're going to go here fairly soon. No, but I got a big. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Coming. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. We had that guy already. Keep going. 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 Go fast.
Yeah,
it's coming.
It loads, so it slows me down.
Right there. That's it. Okay. We're going to play this for you. This is the what happened in 1967 when they declared war. Keep going. You got to play it?
I got to share it.
Okay, go ahead. And let me know when you're going to do it. All right, here it is.
The possibility of a war with Israel generates great excitement and support in the Arab world. A victory will undo the humiliation of Israel's very existence. Kuwait pledges its army to the United Command, along with Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. Even a bitter opponent of Nasser, King Faisal of Saudi Arabia, joins the cause.
Will Saudi Arabia go to war against Israel?
We are ready to go to the furthest extremity, war.
Could I ask His Majesty what sequence of events he would like to see now in the Middle East?
The first thing is the extermination of Israel.
More importantly, Jordan's alliances with Iraq and Saudi Arabia can bring more men and tanks into the war against Israel. In just 2 weeks, Nasser has ejected the UN forces from the Sinai, blocked the Straits of Tiran, and given new life to the dream of eliminating Israel. The entire Arab world is behind him.
And people were absolutely convinced that with King Hussein and Abdel Nasser, with Syria and Iraq, there was going to be a war and they were going to win.
The looming conflict is no longer about deterring Israel from attacking Syria or controlling the Straits of Tiran. Now he talks about turning the clock back 20 years to before the State of Israel was created. Radio Cairo delivers this message to Israelis in their own language.
ناصر نحن أحريقة نشميد إتخم نصرف إتخم نشحق إتخم عالدك.
And because there is no Israeli television in 1967, Israelis watch Egyptian television in Arabic.
You turn on the TV and you watch Egyptian television, and you see the celebration in the streets. You see Nasser sitting down in the airbase in Sinai with the MiG-21 pilots in their G-suits ready for combat, smiling from ear to ear. You see the massive amount of tanks entering Sinai. We had the feeling that we were being suffocated, that they were going to destroy us all.
The Arab press is contributing to.
Okay. Did you get to see that? I hope.
Yeah, I just did. Kind of sounds like what we're hearing from the Iranians in the last couple of weeks. They're even now posting stuff that they're going to destroy us. They're going to destroy America. They're going to destroy Israel. They're going to destroy the world. They're going to destroy everybody. And they're you need to check your Facebook messages. I sent you one, by the way, that you need to look at. You'd probably enjoy. But
I think I did.
It's
Is it about? Well, it's not about Joe Kent, who I wanted to talk to you about, but Wyoming donor. Yeah, Wyoming donor.
Okay, that was
breaking the Wyoming Freedom Caucus majority. What this? Is that the one?
Yeah. Well, no, that was actually, I've sent you one since then, but you look at it. You'll know why I sent it when you see it. Anyway, the thing is, if you listen to the bluster from these people, it's amazing. Plus the fact that look at just the geopolitics of 1967. There's no way that Israel could have won that. It would take and I use this word very specifically, it would take a miracle for Israel to win that. Guess what happened? We saw a miracle. You know why we saw a miracle? Because these Islamists from the days of Ishmael, they've been on the wrong side of history. Okay, and they were on the wrong side of history in 1967, and so there was a miracle there.
Amazing.
Didn't have the approval of Tucker Carlson. They won anyway.
Yeah, 1948 war, which was just after the UN voted them in. The Jews had an air force of four little planes and a couple of flyers from the United States on them against 3 or 4 different countries that had full armies and full navies and full air force, and they beat them, and they beat them bad. It's incredible. By the way, I have a friend.
You can put
Bill Hardwick, and Bill is running for Senate in Wyoming. No, in Missouri. I'm sorry. And he probably would do well in Wyoming under you. Yes, go ahead. Did we freeze him out?
Let me add one thing. Did you me out?
Yeah, you're having some issues on your phone here, but go ahead, keep going. You're not going anywhere. Oh, God,
I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. Why don't you call the show back? I'll give you another 5 minutes, okay?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's time for me to get off anyway. So,
okay.
I would like to talk to you about the Wyoming Freedom Caucus. We get the chance.
I can't even give you my joke.
Wyoming Donor Alliance. Oh.
All right, we can't hear you now.
He might be doing that on purpose to get out of the joke.
Oh, that's true.
I had a great joke for you. I'll tell him. What the hell? All right, if you're still listening up there, and by the way, buy his book, Rules for Defeating Radicals. It's excellent. The guy's a smart guy. I wish I could have gotten into talk with about him and the general. And so anyways, so go buy his book, will you? Where books are bought.
Well, we also have a link to it in the comments. Then go right to the Amazon store and take you right to it.
Okay. So I think it was just yesterday or 2 days ago, Lisa says to me, "Don't give me any lip." And I said, "But honey, you married all of me."
Thanks for sharing that.
Hold on.
No.
Sorry.
It's yeah, I know. You're too afraid. You can't jump on one side or the other. I know you. You're a politician. Speaking of which, I think he came in there and destroyed.
Turn my microphone on so I can rebut this.
You were 5 minutes. Early.
I know. Out of the 100 appearances or so, I've mainly been on time early.
That is the smart thing to do.
There were a couple that I was late.
Don't say you're going to be here and you're not here.
Yeah, but other people didn't show up at all. But yeah, a couple times I was late. Yeah. A couple times there was construction or whatever. But over how many years? 6 years, I've mainly been on time. But what I haven't done, like other people, if you try to decide, is just bail on you. So some people just did that.
But that's
because I got 2 events and I'll make it.
Oh, you're talking about what's his name? Oh my goodness! Yes.
I'm just saying if I was double
Don
booked,
Mayhew, see what the risks you take.
If I was double
by
booked,
not taking my offer to be on the show
I'll still
with your opponent. Okay, see, I'm sorry, Don, but it's just one of those things, and who knows. Maybe you have a bigger event than me, but that's okay. I'm not mad or anything. But this gives him time to have an exclusive interview. And this man is a platoon leader, or was a platoon leader in Iraq War, judo coach for kids, a college professor, a lawyer, and Missouri state representative running for Missouri Senate. Please welcome my friend Bill Hardwick.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, studio audience. Where did you get judo coach for kids?
I thought you were jiu-jitsu.
I do jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Okay, jiu-jitsu.
I did judo too.
Okay, so
yeah.
What do you mean where I got it? I've heard it all the time. You've put it on your Facebook pages.
I took my son to jiu-jitsu.
I did my research.
Yeah, you
okay, and you didn't even know I had that information.
But I wasn't a judo coach.
I'm not going to release a lot of information I have then.
I got the Oppo file.
I'm kidding. Yeah, the alpha file, right? Okay, so as a National Guard, and see now I had put that in there because I didn't do it in the opening. As a National Guard and platoon leader, please tell us your opinion of our leadership and soldiers at the moment.
Our leadership and our soldiers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meaning the president and his cabinet.
I think that we have good leadership, and I think we have a good Secretary of War. I think that our soldiers are the finest people in our country, right? You have to be just to even get into the military, physically, mentally, character-wise. I think this is a lot different than Iraq War I, though. It's different. The technology is different. The reasons for going to war are different. The climate's different. Even the way that our country is caring about it is different. When there was the Iraq invasion in 2003, there was this national sell it to the people. There was Colin Powell, the UN, all this stuff. And we just are doing things way differently this time. That doesn't mean it's wrong.
Name some of the differences.
So one difference is there's no UN. There's no need to go to the UN to get a coalition built, international coalition.
They're bankrupt, by the way.
America and that's not saying it's bad. I'm just saying these are differences in the times, differences in historical times. America feels like that the WTO, the World Trade Organization, the UN might be feckless. And so we're just doing what we think is in our national interest when we think it is. The reasons why there's an impetus to go to war are different. In Iraq, it was post 9/11, and we still had the post 9/11 sentiments in our country, and there was the issue of weapons of mass destruction and Saddam Hussein's kind of evil acts. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not just Iran's terrorism to the area, to that entire region. It's the fact that artificial intelligence will enable all of our competitors to become near peer competitors technologically. So soon, even if Iraq wasn't having a nuclear weapon, artificial intelligence would serve as a functional nuclear weapon for Iran, right? Iran would have that ability. And the ability for artificial intelligence to develop nuclear weapons or to hack critical infrastructure or to take down commercial jet airliners or do all kinds of things was a growing threat that they had. And so some strategists think that Iran always being hostile to America meant that conflict was inevitable. And that conflict is better now than before Iran can do significant damage to the region.
Are you saying that the Trump statement that they had a week, maybe 2 weeks before they could develop a workable bomb, maybe even 10 bombs, nuclear weapons, because that's what he said. And he said that's the reason why I had to go, because they were backing down all the one of the guys who was negotiating said, you know what, they just told me, he says, we don't care anymore. We're going to make a bomb, and you're not going to stop us. And that's the way it ended. So what the hell?
I believe Donald Trump. I think
I do too.
In terms of forthrightness with the American public, and that you have that metric, I think Donald Trump, John F. Kennedy are probably the most forthright. You can say good or bad policies with Kennedy, but in terms of forthrightness about what's going on in the world, Trump is probably the most. Kennedy after him, just in terms of just kind of leveling with the American people, even the ugly parts of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Eisenhower was a great president, but he didn't level with the American people. The CIA were doing a lot of things under Eisenhower that he just was too secretive about, right? He wasn't telling people, like when the spy plane was shot down, they said it was a weather balloon, and Eisenhower ordered coups, he ordered espionage, secret missions, and he went to Congress and said that's not what we were doing, So, but I think Eisenhower was an excellent administrator, but I think Trump
was that a carryover from him being in charge of World War II?
Well, and it's funny because I wish you could hang it with me and my kids sometimes, because my kids sit there and they go, how did whatever Germany? And I tell the story about the Allied powers going to Berlin and the Soviets, and they meet there and they draw, Berlin down the line, and that comes East and West Germany. And about, after Japan, the Americans go up on the Korean Peninsula and the Soviets come down in the north part of the Korean Peninsula, and their tanks literally meet at the 38th parallel, and that becomes a DMZ. So I love telling the story. And then how after, because I don't know who was asking about Israel. I think it was one of my kids. And we were talking about the history of it. We were talking about the Zionist migration in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about the Ottoman Empire fell after World War I. And that was kind of like the last few throws of the British Empire. And they had that whole region, right? And then they kind of drew those lines out after World War II. But after World War II, think about it too. We created this new world order it's what happened for the post-World II order, it's economic system. And everything was about defeating the Soviet Union and America's policy. So the secular dictators that America promoted and the CIA advanced, Eisenhower was just all about preventing a World War III, a nuclear war. So that's why he said it's okay to assassinate people. It's okay to install the Shah, who the Shah was a secularish, I should say, but not very good to his people, dictator in Iran. And that was okay with us because he was aligned with us against the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't want them to take the domino effect of communism take over the world. So fast forward all the way to Donald Trump. When he came on the scene in 2016, ran for president, he argued against that a lot. He said there's a lot of stuff that we're doing that doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
It may have made sense in 1950, whatever, but the world has changed.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know how to answer all that stuff, but that it's just interesting to me.
Basically, he became a peace president who wanted to make deals with countries to even out economic levels of ridiculousness, and to cut government to the point to where you weren't having all these people getting paid off.
Yeah, I think that the world. So somebody asked me the other day, I got this question. There's this in Pulaski County, there's Pulaski County talks. And I think there's a lot of people who disagree with me. They're not conservative, who get on there and they criticize. And they said, what do you disagree with Donald Trump on? Anything? Do you agree with everything he says? And I said, there's a couple things I disagree with him on. Like, I'll just tell you, I don't think he should have promoted the COVID vaccine. I don't agree with the glyphosate EO. I think that he should have, a probably stronger Second Amendment than the administration is. Glyphosate about I think, there's a chemical they spray, Monsanto, and it just makes people sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why you
So
don't eat bread? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes people kind of, so I think they shouldn't be promoting that. But I think that Donald Trump's been a good president. And I think that Washington and the establishment and the swamp was so bad and so far gulf from the good of the people that we needed a change agent to come to Washington and say, like, the deep state and the establishment, you guys need to be shaken up. From the Pentagon to the DOJ to the CIA to the IRS to the FBI to whatever, to the way we do business with the world, somebody to come and say, you guys are completely ignoring the American people. And I'm going to come, and basically we threw a Molotov cocktail to DC, and they needed that. So he's been good for that. And a lot of, and I think right now, if I just keep talking
Probably
about that,
needed a bigger weapon, but it worked.
No, exactly. I think we were shocked and he was shocked how bad it was his first term.
Oh,
because he came and wanted to change.
He didn't get the depth of this thing.
His whole first
and the
term,
reach of it.
Yeah, his whole first term, the tentacles of deep state were just undermining him everything he did.
Well, and they're still doing it now.
For sure.
You know?
Now I think that, so now we're in the second term of the presidency, and I'll finish this real fast because we got more questions, but we don't talk as much as I'd like to. In the second term presidency, the coalition in history, the coalition of the presidency that rises into power usually falls apart, right? And so because there's this thing, and we bind everybody together, and that thing that made them a majority to win the election begins to kind of peel off because the policies make them dissatisfied. That's always happened. In the second term presidency, 1986, 2006, 2014, the incumbent president is defeated badly in the midterms. Except for 1998, when there was the impeachment against Bill Clinton, the Democrats did well, and there was a backlash against the impeachment proceedings. And Donald Trump has always defied gravity, political gravity.
Yeah.
So whatever conventional wisdom is, he does something different. But I think that there's a little fissure in the MAGA base now, because a lot of MAGA people said this is the no war president, no more wars in the Middle East, no more endless wars. And so, and I have the view that we needed to take care of Iran personally. I still think that this war is different. Like we could talk about the Straits of Hormuz. We could talk about drone strikes. We could talk about artificial intelligence, why it's different than previous wars and why it's dangerous. But I think that Iran needed to be dealt with. But there are a lot of people who said, I voted for Donald Trump because there would be no more wars. And I feel like we've started a war.
Well, he didn't run on that specifically, but his claim was that I'm the guy that goes out and settles wars and brings peace. But they're getting that mixed up on of what naturally is something that has happened throughout history forever, that people will do nasty things to people, and if they get enough weaponry and they have the gumption to go and do what they're doing, you better take care of those people, because you're going to have to kill them. And in the case of certain sects, sects, SECTS,
yes,
is that they're not, they don't care whether they die, live or die, and okay, fine, we'll send you to the 72 virgins then, rather than die from atomic weapons.
I think my view, my support of President Trump is a lot of reasons, but one reason here is I feel like what he is doing is he is addressing problems that nobody else had addressed. And sometimes
because they're difficult.
And there is backlash to that.
Here it is. They were kicking the can down the road, and Trump took his big foot and he smashed the can.
Right. So I think that there is political backlash to that. And there is real cost. Like, for example, our gas prices are going up right now because Iran is launching attacks to ships in the Straits of Hormuz. And about maybe 25% of oil supply goes to the Straits of Hormuz. So we're suffering. People are suffering. And there are soldiers being attacked in the Middle East, American soldiers. So there are real consequences. But just like to your point, that the issues have to be dealt with. And we could deal with them now, or we could deal with them in 20, 30 years in a way worse way, I think. Immigration is like that. So do I agree with it? Do I think that ICE should be able, like, do I think Kristi Noem was doing great with ICE? I think she had some problems with ICE, honestly. But I think that what Donald Trump needed to do, and one of the reasons why I voted for him 3 times, is because the border was completely open, and terrorists and terrible people and horrible people and drug cartels and murderers were literally just walking, and drug and human traffickers, trafficking children, were just walking into this country, spreading heroin and fentanyl everywhere, kidnapping Americans, a horrible situation. And we didn't have a country. And the Democrats turned a blind eye to it because they thought they could register them to vote for Democrats.
Well, that's exactly right.
So somebody had to deal with that.
And I think they were partnered into the drugs and the trafficking of women and children. And I think you're looking at a bunch of people who were really scared, and they're starting to get subpoenaed. And they're starting to get charges against them. Comey's going in again for a subpoena, and he's up for another charge too.
Comey's a guy we could talk about Comey too, but but immigration, he dealt with it. Remember when he became president, ISIS was destroyed. China we have to deal with. Korea we have to deal with. The Federal Reserve we have to deal with. He's dealing with the Federal Reserve. I applaud him for not thinking so much about 2026 midterms as about 2056, what our generation looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
So
even 100 years or so. I predict that he wants 100 years of peace and maybe even more, because he's setting things in motion. We have now become, or soon will be, the leader of the world, and this country will be in control of all the other countries unless we blow it.
He's setting conditions for us to maintain the dominant superpower. That's important. Now, do I think like I said, the difference between Iraq, where we defeated the fifth largest army, and there was this national mobilization, this international mobilization, and now where the president can say, "Tell me where this guy is," and the intelligence guys will go, "That guy's going to the bathroom right now."
Who's telling them? Israel's telling them.
Well,
Mossad.
We're definitely engaged with Mossad.
Give the Jews a little credit, will you? Come on, man.
We're definitely engaged with Mossad. But between us and them, how about our intelligence apparatus?
Well, yeah.
Now, and this is interesting, and it's scary to me that right now the technology of America is the president can ask where anybody is in the world, and they can go, Dave Weinbaum sitting right there. Mm-hmm. And if the president can kill anybody whenever he wants in the world. And
thank you for that mentioning. I'm out of here.
No,
I'm out of here.
He stormed out. I'll quit saying serious things. Seems funny, but so warfare is different.
Who are you sent by?
I guess my point is warfare is different now, and I've been thinking about that too. The difference between Kosovo in the '90s, like under Clinton, and Vietnam, is the difference between Iran now and Iraq back then. That's how much warfare technology has changed. So just like the public thinks about it differently, but it's just different now. Mm-hmm. But I do think that we needed to address that problem. But me saying, have you ever had a problem with an employee and you had to take care of it?
Yep.
And you go take care of it and they lash out and they throw things or whatever, and they try to be toxic to their employees. When you address it, when you confront a problem, you're going to get some backlash. And it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Right. But that doesn't mean that, and I'm not trying to minimize the loss of life, but some things have to be done for because it has to be confronted, basically.
And you have to have a mental compass of things and you have to think things through. What would God do? That's always a good question. What would God do in this situation?
You're talking Old Testament God? What are we talking here?
The Old Testament God.
He's the same God. He's the same God.
You can talk about Jesus because you know what? He was Jewish.
Jesus is just all right with me.
He's just a what?
Old classic song.
It's a song.
Yeah, it's Doobie Brothers.
Wait, are you going to sing?
Well, somebody said that. If you want, Jesus is just all right. So, I don't care what people say.
Oh, God. What have I turned into? I love it. I'm trying to help Catholics get to heaven by telling them to stop bothering the Jews, stop picking on us as you've been doing for 2,000 years, because Jesus was a Jew, born a Jew, lived a Jew. His mother was a Jew. His apostles were Jews. And I'm saying, what do you think's going to happen if Jesus identifies as a Jew also, as he's always done, and you come to him when you die? What's he going to do?
So before I make a joke, I'm going to say I believe in religious freedom for sure. This is a free country. You could be Jewish, you could be atheist, you could be Christian. It's a free country, and that's my principle. But when you said that, it reminded me of the movie Meet the Parents, where he meets Owen Wilson's character, who's like perfect. He's like a carpenter and a stockbroker or whatever.
Yeah, and
they go, Greg's Jewish, like his pejorative, and Owen Wilson goes, just like JC.
Yeah,
it always cracked me up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm serious about this stuff though too, because I like a lot of Catholics. I like a lot of Christians. I live in a Christian town. I'm about the only Jewish family out here.
Well,
there's a few, but not many. And so I've gotten along great here. eventually.
You know, one of my go ahead. I'm going to cut you off.
All right, go ahead.
One of my heroes, one of my George Washington's one of my heroes. And reading his writings about the Jew and the Christian, you know, and the person, whatever sect, coexisting in America, and that's the vision for America. That has always inspired me.
SECTS.
SECTS.
Yes.
Yeah, from section, right? Part
or sex.
Yep. So, yeah, it means division.
Quit talking about sex on my show.
But so, like, I think that faith was imbued in the founding of America for sure. If you read the writing about providence and Washington saying we need to acknowledge Almighty God.
What does the Constitution stand for?
The Constitution assumes people who will have a philosophy that will restrain them. But also part of the founding of America is to get away from the church
for the people of the people,
right? To get away from a government mandated religion,
right?
Because a government mandated religion, like they have in maybe a caliphate, like they have in a theocracy, like in the Middle East, we don't have that in America. What we have is a government that's restrained in its power and a people that are free to worship God according to their conscience.
Yeah. Which is messy at a bunch of times.
It's messy.
Very messy.
We're going to argue. We're going to disagree about it. But you know what? You're going to have freedom. You can go to the church you want to go to.
If you fight for it, yeah. If you don't, it's going to turn into one of the bad countries that determine, like Iran, what their people are going to think and how they think it. And if you disagree, we're going to kill you. And that's exactly what's happening right now there.
You know, that's exactly right. We have freedom because we fight for freedom. That's the American way, honestly.
Sure.
You know, as I was telling my kids about like the history, I don't know why I go on this riff, because that's why I talk to them these weeks, and I come in, I talk to you about it. I talk about, like, you know, World War II, and then like even Vietnam was like this thing with the Soviet Union.
Well, I think I open up you have a good mind. I think I'm good at opening it up.
Oh yeah, maybe so. Yeah. You're a good interviewer.
I
was telling about the Shah, and so there was pressure because the Shah was so hated by the Iranian people, and the Ayatollah obviously rises up 1979, the Iranian Revolution, and they stormed the Shah flees Iran, and the Ayatollah, which is we're talking about this strict theocracy, storms the American embassy, and there are Marines there, and they take over the embassy, and they take the Marines hostage. And one of the Marines is a guy named Rocky. I met him at the governor's prayer breakfast a few months ago, and he's from Washington, Missouri. He was a 22-year-old Marine, I think. If I get some details wrong, that's how I remember it. 22 Marine. He was captured. They had him blindfolded and tied up like this as a hostage. They were moving him around. Then eventually he got the freedom to be in a cell, and the cell he did something like 300 push-ups every day and 600 sit-ups every day. He's just sitting in a cell, you know, like just working out constantly. And in 1980, the Americans boycott the Olympics. And so I guess how it happened, it's kind of a weird story how they just treated him brutally, the hostages. And they brought in this guy, and they were going to make him fight him to see how, he's a Marine from Missouri.
Yeah.
Make him fight him. And he was like the Iranian wrestler, though, on their Olympic wrestler. But they missed the Olympics. So they fight, and Rocky basically grabs him and slams him to the ground like instantly, cracks his back. And the Iranian guards, this is like why they're hostages, drag him out.
Probably
and
killed him.
He messed him up for sure.
Yeah.
But he kind of said, the Americans won the wrestling Olympics.
Another wrestler was just killed by Iran.
Oh, really?
One of theirs. They had strung him up because he was protesting, and he's a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
This is new news,
No, that was a trick story about Rocky. Like they captured him. He had worked out, and then he fought their Olympic wrestler, and then he, and then they drugged him out. He's just this 22-year-old kid, and then Carter's trying to rescue the hostages effectively and negotiate it, and he said they were on the aircraft. And when they're waiting on the tarmac, and they waited exactly till after Reagan was sworn in, and that a minute after Reagan sworn in president, to let the aircraft take off and freed all the hostages for that hostage crisis.
That's right.
And that was, whatever.
And Reagan was
years ago.
Reagan was a good president, but the one thing he let go, which was a big help to the Shias, was the 241. I think they were Marines killed in Beirut. And he didn't do anything about it, in my knowledge.
I also think we need to consider that I think Reagan was a great president, great communicator, great principles. And I think Reagan is the framer of modern conservatism in America, political conservatism. I also think we should give Reagan credit for just like Trump is trying to deal with the problems of his time.
Mm-hmm.
The Cold War was the problem of Reagan's time,
right?
Defeating the Soviet Union,
and he did.
And so really World War
without
II,
a war,
yeah. Really the history arc of World War II is nicely epilogued by the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Take down that wall,
yeah, Mr. Gorbachev. Tear down this wall,
yeah,
right? And so the fall of
the
Berlin
Wall. You did it better
Wall,
than me. You had to show me up, didn't you?
If you love freedom, it's a great speech. Yeah. It's a great speech,
and it worked. It saved the war, and we actually were in pretty good shape after that for a while.
Yeah. So it ends the
it always
the Cold
ends.
War era.
It's eras.
It starts something new.
It starts up new, and
then we have the internet era, and then we have the rise. So in the fall,
and now you got the AI era.
Right. So we have that. So probably from the end of the Cold War and the rise of the information age, the internet, it's punctuated by the internet rising. We have the proliferation of non-government or non-state actor terrorism. And now we're going to go probably through a different era because of AI. AI is going to change the way everybody does business. So it's a new punctuated era. But anyway.
Okay. All right. So let me get back to my second question. Well, wait a minute. I'm going to skip one and say Japan is now leading the way to NATO countries, and Japan, which wants to make a deal for Alaska oil as well as some of their own. Yeah. Now, they were arguing back and forth just yesterday or the day before, and the Japanese people were there, and the woman who was the president of Japan, who I think she's enthralled with Donald Trump. He said, now Donald, didn't call him Mr. President, Donald, like they're old friends, but she's very, very smart in her ways. And but her group was saying that you give us a surprise. How come this big surprise? And what does
Donald Trump say? He said, and I'm quoting the president. So you think Japan doesn't know about surprises? Why didn't you tell us about Pearl Harbor? Something to that effect. That's his response.
Yeah, he said, "Well, do you remember Pearl Harbor?"
Right.
This is what happens when you let the punchline go to somebody else. It completely kills. No, you did a good job.
No, so some people were aghast by that, but I kind of think there's some.
No, it was funny. They were all laughing.
I think they were laughing, but I also think there's some value in just kind of saying things how they are.
Yeah,
and just being like,
and being funny.
Let's quit dancing around it,
and let's have some fun while we're doing it.
Yeah.
That's that. So Dems are going for, it seems like another record of shutting government over getting to cheat on elections.
Right.
Should we filibuster them and have ammo coming from both sides, or should we just cut out the stuff they claim they're against and give up? I mean, I'm
going to say something that I have not said before. I'm going to reverse my position and say what I think the Republicans should do now.
Oh my God! Something I said?
No,
come on, give me something here.
I have changed my opinion over the years on this, but I'm going to offer my opinion presently, and I'll reserve the right to change it next week if I want to.
Of course.
I think the Republicans should go ahead and get rid of the filibuster. The Democrats are favored to win in the midterms, and there is no question in my mind they are going to immediately get rid of the filibuster. The Democrats would have got rid of the filibuster when they had the majority, but for Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, and both of them are gone now, and they were the last holdouts to prevent the filibuster. But the last time the Democrats had power, they did everything they can to get rid of it.
How do you get rid of the filibuster if you don't have the votes?
Well, the filibuster is not in the Constitution. The filibuster is a procedural rule enacted by the Senate as a body of their own rules.
Yeah.
So the only votes you need to get rid of the filibuster are 51.
Okay.
So with 50, if the Republicans have that, especially with Vice President Vance. So
how do you think that's going to come down for this election coming up?
So whether or not the Democrats really will win in the midterms is an open question. Polling and favorability of the president seems to indicate that they have a very strong chance of doing that right now. My opinion, though, is that the media cycle has accelerated so much that so many more things are going to happen this year that are going to be fundamentals built into the electorate in November that we don't know that. Mm-hmm. But the conventional wisdom right now is that they would take Congress. they will proceed to completely stop all of Donald Trump's agenda, and they will impeach him. And then we'll have 2 years basically of a Congress that is hostile to President Trump, if this happens, and a president who will just continue to execute his foreign policy plan, basically ignoring Congress, right? And they'll fight, and those disputes will be fought out in the courts. And that'll be the next 2 years of America. So the Republicans Thune has been reluctant to get rid of the filibuster, but I think it's very obvious now that, and this started with court appointments 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It started with, as soon as the Democrats get in power, they erode it. It's very obvious to me now that in about a year, there'll be no filibuster in the United States Senate. So I think the Republicans should just go ahead and get rid of it, and they should enact whatever policies the president wants, and they should repeal laws and put laws in place. And then the Democrats won't have a 2/3 majority to remove him. And then he's just going to have to veto their bills for 2 years, if that's what happens. Now, I'm not saying this is like all dire. There's been redistricting. Like I said, a lot of things are going to happen. We don't know how Iran's going to resolve itself. We don't know how a lot of this stuff is going to resolve itself. So the midterms aren't over yet. Trump has a way of defying gravity, but that's the conventional wisdom. So
guess what?
What's that?
We have another guest. You can hang out. You can hang out.
I'll relinquish the chair.
Well, what are you doing? You're early.
No, it's right on time. I'll relinquish my position.
Oh, look at this. Are we wearing? Wow, you're wearing pink today. Oh my God.
It's fuchsia.
Yeah, fuchsia, right? Fuchsia, my butt.
See you, Bill.
Hey, wait a minute. I had something for you. Hold on a minute. Don't get me mixed up. I only got 2 questions in.
Okay, no problem.
In a half an hour, more than a half an hour because you were early. Other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and contribute?
Go to BillHardwick.com. Got a great website. We got videos of me speaking on the website, and you can find out more about our platform and our campaign there.
So this is what happened to me yesterday. I told JP, I says, I think I'd like a teleprompter. And JP says, well, that's something I've never looked into. Wait, is that as verbatim as you can get, or what? even the schmuck is laughing over here. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you don't mind that. See ya, Bill. Okay, so these are 2 brave Americans. It looks like maybe just one. He keeps promising her, but he doesn't do it. I don't know why. Two brave Americans barbecuing in their backyard suddenly violated by 350 Antifa and BLM, kicked away with 2 words, 2 guns. Private property. Please welcome Mark and Pat McCloskey. And Bob Willis. He has invaded here. All right. So Netanyahu is accused of being a non-Jew from Poland. This is popular right now with who is popular, Netanyahu, that is. 90% of Israel love what he's doing in Iran, and it's a slap in the face to Iran. And Iran lover Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, both Roman Catholics. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I can tell you this. One of the things, hey, I bet you didn't know this. Susie Wilds, the president's chief of staff, she ran Netanyahu's campaign, she and Corey Lewandowski. I mean, there's no question now, as of today, that the United States is a vassal.
Who has that information?
Look it up you can Google it. Google it. Just ask your cell phone. When was Susie Wilds working for
Who really cares?
Netanyahu? I'm sorry?
Who cares about that?
Well, I can care about this. Joe Kent, the director of the National Anti-Terrorism Center, resigned this week because he said he could no longer work for the administration because they were being controlled.
You ever watch Dan Bongino?
I'm sorry?
You know who Dan Bongino is, right?
I've seen his eyes bugging out of his head for many years.
Yeah, and he's a good friend of Joe Kemp's.
Yeah,
good friend. And Candace Owens, knows Candace Owens. They all knew Charlie Kirk very well. Listen to his show from yesterday, 319. He tears Kemp apart. And I think Kemp is up for either was subpoenaed or he's up for treason charges based on giving. So, I mean, I don't have the facts yet, but neither do you.
Well,
but
I can say, I do know.
They're all reverting back to Jews, and you're just doing it right now.
No,
oh my God, it's that Jew, Bibi Netanyahu, and you're getting us a lot of us threatened and a lot of us killed.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard testified yesterday and the day before. Mm-hmm. She testified that in the opinion of the intelligence community, she said these words in a written statement and confirmed them again yesterday, that as of the Operation Midnight Hammer, the Iranian nuclear program was completely obliterated, and that there had been no effort to engage in any new enrichment of uranium. So in other words, the Iranian nuclear program was totally obliterated, like the president said back last June. It has never been restarted. And it totally
this is Bob Willis talking. No,
that is not what they said when they began negotiating for nuclear weapons 2 months ago. They said they had enough U-235 at 60% concentration to go ahead and develop 11 bombs. That's what their people said.
So that's what Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner said. There was, however, the head of British intelligence in the room at that meeting who said those words were never spoken.
Yeah, but he's anti-Trump, so you can't give him any credibility.
Anybody that tells the truth is anti-Trump.
Since when are you anti-Trump?
If the standard of reality is, if you agree with Donald Trump, it's true. If you disagree with Donald Trump, you're lying. And if you
it's actually the other way around. Everything Donald Trump says is a lie. That's what everybody thinks. That's
not true.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff we need to be careful about with evidence.
Well, I can tell you this because I sometimes go to the.
What do you do for a living?
I had a meeting with Mark Wayne Mullen about 2 days before the war started.
What do you do for a living? I want people to know from your mouth.
Right now, I just talk on the Dave Weinbaum show.
He's a lawyer, and I love lawyers. I love lawyers. One of them was just sitting here, and he left. When he saw you, he got scared.
Well, he should. I was speaking with my wife and I and 3 other couples were sitting down with Mark Wayne Mullen a couple of days before the war started. And
Mullen is the guy. Now explain who he is.
All right. Well, he was a senator from Oklahoma. Right. He's now going to be the new director of the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting down with him, and I asked the first question. And I say, are we going to war in Iran? He gave a long, rambling answer, and the basic conclusion was no. So then I said to him this. I said, last May 25th, Tulsi Gabbard testified in front of Congress and said that Iran had no nuclear program and they had no intention of having a nuclear program. He told me that she was intentionally lying to put the Iranians off their game so that we could surprise them, right? Well, she said that wasn't a lie yesterday. She said that was her assessment then, and it's her assessment now. She testified to that under oath. And so Mark Wayne Mullen and this guy hugged Michael Byrd, the Capitol Police officer that killed Ashley Babbitt, and apologized to him. This Mark Wayne Mullen directly lied to me about the war and Tulsi Gabbard, and I guarantee you that there's no question about that. And now he's going to be director of Homeland Security, a guy who, let me put it this way. I'll go even further. Yes. I said this to the person that you don't like, Tucker Carlson, the other day.
I think he's great. Kill all the Jews. Hey, did you get your blood test yet for being Irish?
Yeah, I did actually. It came back Guinness.
Did you get rid of the whiskey in your?
No, it came back Guinness. I'm
yeah, you're a schmuck. Maybe you're Jewish. You're a schmuck.
You can tell me by my limping, huh?
Yeah.
So what do you think about eradicating the greatest terrorist country in the world?
You mean Israel?
Which every president for the last 8 ones said we got to get rid of Iran. We got to get and Iran. How do you measure them saying we are building or have enough to have at least 2 or 2 or 3 for Israel, 2 or 3 of these atomic bombs, and then we're going to have a lot more for the big devil, America. So what do you say about that?
Well,
I'll say this.
Joe Kent said it very eloquently, and he said this. When Muammar Gaddafi said, okay, I'm giving up all my nuclear weapons, I'm giving up my weapons of mass destruction, let's have peace. What happened to him? Sodomized by bayonet, killed by his people. When Saddam Hussein said...
Was that a Jew that did that?
I'm sorry?
Was it a Jew that did that?
No, it was the Libyans.
Okay.
And then when Saddam Hussein threatens that he has nuclear weapons, what? We hang him, right? Hung by his own people. So here's the thing. The Iranians are clever in this way. They want to have enough potential nuclear deterrent that they might not have to get that knife up their rear end when the United States decides to kill them, but still have not actually do anything that will provoke it. And so
I don't think you can speak for the Iranians. They're a terrorist group of people that will always say death to America and act on that impulse.
They were sitting there in Iran for the last two weeks, completely surrounded by a good portion of our Navy with planes on these boats, and you're telling me that they had no problem at all with telling us to go shove it, we're done with it, and we're going to keep whatever we want.
And what's the alternative?
Which was
unconditional surrender.
We didn't.
They're never going to change their attitude.
And then you blame Israel for this?
What's the alternative? Surrendering to a country that has vowed to exterminate you? What did Pete Hegseth say? No quarter. Unconditional surrender with no quarter. The definition of no quarter is you murder your political prisoners.
Hey, wait a minute. Have you ever been in the Army? Because you're not talking like you have. I've been in the Army. You don't murder people when you're in the Army and you fight in a war.
Well, if you take prisoners and you execute them, and that's called no quarter, that is murder.
We did not do that. We're not on the ground anywhere in the Middle East.
Yeah. Pete Hegseth said, no quarter, no mercy. Those were his exact words.
Okay.
He's a director. He's the secretary of what he likes to call war. And he said, no quarter, no mercy. That means the execution of prisoners.
No, it does not.
No, it does not.
Oh, what is?
I have been in the Army.
So what prisoners
have
you verified that there are prisoners that have been killed?
No, I verified that the chairman of the...
don't have evidence. See, you're saying stuff and you don't have evidence, and you're a lawyer.
The evidence is Pete Hegseth said no quarter. By the way, the president of the United States, and by the way, I campaigned for this guy 3 times.
Yeah.
And I used to
hate him now or what?
Respect for him. He said these things last week, and I could no longer support him as a human being. He said he's talking to the Navy admiral, and he says, why don't we just capture the Iranian boats? And he laughs and he says, because it's so much more fun to sink them, meaning killing sailors instead of capturing them. And then with regard to Kharg Island 2 days ago, the president of the United States says, well, I might just go in and bomb them more just for fun. These people are getting killed. These are human beings just for fun. Our president said that. I'll go one more. In killing those 165 schoolgirls, he knows he's president of the United States. As a president of the United States, he either knows that Iran had no Tomahawk missiles, would not have the capacity to launch a Tomahawk missile, doesn't have the launching mechanisms to launch them, doesn't have the software to program them. For the president of the United States.
So how do you know that?
How do you know this?
How do you know that? Because
what are your sources for that?
The reality is they're building ballistic missiles and have ballistic missiles. They have a range. They have a range.
And they have attacked Israel consistently since and coordinated 10/7/23 with other countries.
Well, here's the answer to the question. Did
they go after military targets? No.
Talk about reality. Here's reality.
They went after civilians on 10/7/23.
How about the 130,000 civilians that Israel has killed in Gaza? How about the ethnic cleansing going right now?
That's not a correct statement.
Bullshit. Even the Gazans are laughing at that one right now.
Ethnic cleansing going on right now in South Lebanon.
That's 130,000 is nowhere close to reality.
Okay.
That's bullshit.
Is it more than 1,200?
Is it more than 1,200?
Probably it is, but when you're attacked by an enemy, as Hamas did, it's war.
If you're going to have tunnels, all over the place with kids, with schools, with churches, with hospitals, and you're firing stuff out of there and hiding underneath them, that's war. Okay.
So what did Benjamin Netanyahu? What was the word he used? Amalek. 1 Samuel 15. Kill them all. Kill the men. Kill the women. Kill the infants.
Well, what do you think the Muslims in Hamas are saying when they say
what did Hamas say? Yeah, the river to the sea. I mean, this is not a secret here. And now the Catholics are seemingly joining them.
Actually, go back to 1948. David Ben-Gurion said that, the river to the sea. He said we're talking genocide here. He was talking about the Palestinians in 1948.
No, you're wrong.
No, that's not correct.
You're wrong, and it's the 1967 war that you're talking about, and they all quoted. I have the clip on it right now. Get that clip out and play it for this gentleman, please. All right, the one we just played on that. There it is. Yeah, we're gonna play this for you, get you a little educated, so you can maybe redeem yourself, because you keep. And I'm going to tell you this later, so we're going to get this in first. Hit it.
The possibility of a war with Israel generates great excitement and support in the Arab world. A victory will undo the humiliation of Israel's very existence. Kuwait pledges its army to the United Command, along with Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. Even a bitter opponent of Nasser, King Faisal of Saudi Arabia, joins the cause.
Will Saudi Arabia go to war against Israel?
We are ready to go to the furthest extremity, war.
Could I ask His Majesty what sequence of events he would like to see now in the Middle East?
The first thing is the extermination of Israel.
More importantly, Jordan's alliances with Iraq and Saudi Arabia can bring more men and tanks into the war against Israel. In just 2 weeks, Nasser has ejected the UN forces from the Sinai, blocked the Straits of Tiran, and given new life to the dream of eliminating Israel. The entire Arab world is behind him.
And people were absolutely convinced that with King Hussein and Abdel Nasser, with Syria and Iraq, there was going to be a war and they were going to win.
The looming conflict is no longer about deterring Israel from attacking Syria or controlling the Straits of Tiran. Now he talks about turning the clock back 20 years to before the State of Israel was created. Radio Cairo delivers this message to Israelis in their own language.
ناصر نحن أحريقة نشميد إتخم نصرف إتخم نشحك إتخم عدك.
And because there is no Israeli television in 1967, Israelis watch Egyptian television in Arabic.
You turn on the TV and you watch Egyptian television, and you see the celebration in the streets. You see Nasser sitting down in the airbase in Sinai with the MiG-21 pilots in their G-suits.
Okay, I gave you this because I just proved that you were wrong about 1967.
I didn't say anything about 1967.
What, 1948?
Yeah.
Same difference. In fact, it was even worse back then because they were voted in by the UN, and within days they were attacked. And what did they have for an air force? The Israelis. They had 4 little planes that had to have American Jews fly them, and they were up against 4 or 5 different countries.
5 different countries.
Yeah, 5 different countries, and they beat their asses. Okay, how did that happen?
1947.
And the same thing repeated itself in 1967, and now it's repeating itself again.
Okay. let's go back to where we were before you played that clip. There's a point I was attempting to make about my former, the guy that I campaigned for. There's no question that what killed those girls was a Tomahawk missile. There's no question that
there is a question about that. You have no proof that occurred. Nobody does.
I mean, I haven't read it.
We're believing the Iranians at their word, and I don't know that you can.
Well,
you can do
the
that.
Iranians just said that Netanyahu is dead, and then we won the war.
United States Department of Defense acknowledges it was a Tomahawk missile. They have said so.
I did not see that anyway.
Pete Hegseth was questioned about that, and Pete Hegseth says, well, the investigation is continuing. The investigation is continuing. The President of the United States, when questioned about it, didn't deny it was a Tomahawk missile. In fact, he said that he believed that it was done by Iran on their own people. Now, for the President of the United States to acknowledge it's a Tomahawk and then claim it was bait, that Iran did it.
He did not acknowledge it was a Tomahawk. His exact words were, I will believe whatever the report says. Those were his exact words.
But after saying that he believed it was Iran that did it, he then says, because somebody said, why do you say it was Iran? And his exact words were, because I don't know enough about it. To say it's Iran.
And neither do you.
And then say, I don't know enough about it.
All right.
But here's the thing. He would know, unless he's lying or remarkably ignorant, he would know that Iran does not have and cannot deploy.
He never said it was a Tomahawk missile.
However, the defense.
Let me go into something that's very important too, because I like you. I like you. You're a friend, okay? And your wife is wonderful. You've got a great history. You put up with me and stuff like that, and I put up with you. But I took a shot the other day, and I said this to Grock, AI Grock, and without identification of myself. And I told him this: Jesus is the Catholic Messiah. He was born a Jew and prayed to God. Do anti-Semitic Catholics have a problem with Jesus or God when they die? The answer pretty well shocked me. Yes, from a Catholic theological perspective, anti-Semitic Catholics have a profound inconsistency and thus a serious spiritual problem with both Jesus and God. Catholics' belief that holds that every soul faces particular judgment by Christ himself immediately after death. Unrepented grave sins, such as deliberate, sustained hatred, separate a person from God. Jesus explicitly commanded, love thy neighbor, love your enemies, with no ethnic exception. Now, I've got another half of this, but I'm saying to you that you're risking, when you're saying Jews are bad, and we pretty well understand. Well, no. When you're
Jews are bad,
you're implying stuff that you can't prove. Let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
When you die, you're going to go before a Jewish Jesus, assuming he is the Messiah. Now, if he is the Messiah and he's a Jew, you've been just said horrible things about him because of your take on Jews, which are unfounded inferences to that point. Also, you may or may not get through to appeal to God. Okay.
Well, may I respond? The
Yes,
response is that this constant attempt to label people as being anti-Semitic because they disagree with the policies of Netanyahu and his influence over our government is just
not what I'm saying.
Well, I have never once ever said anything anti-Semitic. I say a lot anti-Benjamin Netanyahu and his policies. I say a lot of negative things about the current government of Israel. I have never said anything anti-Semitic. And in fact, I absolutely believe this is Matthew 5, verse 43. Love your enemies as yourself. It is completely contrary to everything I stand for. It's against my religion. It's against my core to have any animosity towards a people based on their genetics, based on their national heritage. But I have an absolute right to disagree with political, not religious, not ethnic, but political policies that are damaging to the United States.
I'm talking about your salvation. I really like you, and I don't want you to get up into heaven and face a Jesus who sees you putting Jews in these unprovable situations. Okay, you can hate a Jew. You can hate a lot of Jews. I don't hate Catholics. I like Catholics for the most part.
Didn't I just say I don't hate?
They're trying to annihilate my people. Me and my family get accosted because of shit like this. My grandson, who is a Christian, got taken. You know, effing Jew. This is what you are, and this is by a Christian kid. Of course, he picked him up and put him on his head. 15 years old. You don't want to mess with him, okay? Do you, Bob?
Yeah, so you can't constantly
but this
say.
is my point.
When I constantly say black, and you say quit saying the word white. I've always said I've never said a single thing against Jews as a people, Jews as a race, even Jews as a nation. I have, however, for example, Joe Kent was put into place by the president as a director of Anti-Terrorism Center, and he, who's supposed to have as much knowledge on these topics as anybody on the planet, because he's the guy that advises the president on it, he said this, right? And he said, early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials, not Jews, Israeli officials, meaning the government of Israel, and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your American First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage war with Iran. This echo chamber is used to deceive you into believing that Iran posted an imminent threat to the United States. This was a lie. It has nothing to do with Jews, has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. It has to do with a political influence on our government, which I do believe is treason. And I think Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government dictating American policy is treasonous. But it has nothing to do with anti-Semitism.
I don't think anybody has any proof of that. That's just
Joe Kent believes he did.
According to his good friend Bongino. Have you listened to that whole clip of him and Kemp?
I have not listened to Dan Bongino, but Dan Bongino has showed himself to be a lapdog. And so
okay, whatever. He's his friend. Okay, he's a friend of Donald Trump. He's a friend of Charlie Kirk and his wife, and he knows Pamela. I mean, not Pam, but he knows Candace Owens, and I mean he's friendly with all these people. And he just tore him. You got to listen to this and then let me know what you think, okay? My friend. Okay, listen, it was a lot of fun. And
hey, I still have 3 minutes.
All right, go ahead. Well,
I'll just say this.
Last time you said that, I had to close my show before you shut your mouth.
All I can say is that it's gotten to a point where when the president is obviously misinformed or lying, when the director of national
you got no proof that he's
that. How can you speak for the president?
Well, I'll do it this way because I'm a lawyer and I do logical deduction.
Hey, I have worked with lawyers forever, and you can't trust any of them.
All right, so, and let's see who's being a bigot there. But anyway,
I'll admit it. I'm biased against lawyers. I admit it.
All right,
I love lawyers. I think this is fun.
Tulsi Gabbard said yesterday that it was her assessment that the Iran nuclear program had been totally obliterated in June by Operation Midnight Hammer, and they had done nothing more to start it up again, meaning it is currently, as of the day before this war started, totally obliterated. And yet the president of the United States sold this war to the American people on the sole basis that he says this isn't about regime change. This is about an imminent nuclear threat that Iran poses to the United States of America, not Israel, not the Mideast, but the United States of America.
You don't know
now,
that.
At that time, the information that he had been given by the people that had that he put in the position to say this said there was no nuclear threat. So he's either lying or he's misinformed.
Okay. All right. Other than the Dave Weinbaum show, where can people find you and hire you and pay?
Well, the first place I would look would be Matthew 5, verse 43. about how
they're going to hire you by doing that.
No.
I didn't realize you're in the Bible.
Yeah, no, we all are as Catholics in the Bible, and this is what we have to make. You can hire me if you wish to at McCloskeylaw.com. My email is McCloskeylaw@AOL.com. And you can catch my old shows on Rumble if you want to go back in ancient history. But when you hire people to be cabinet secretaries and they tell you there is no nuclear threat, and then you launch a war.
Out of here. Do you understand?
Launch a war.
27 seconds.
Killing lots and lots of human beings and laugh about
Lisa
it.
said to me, did you call me a name? I said, no, at least not that you could hear. Okay, my friend. Okay, I gotta go. My show's over. I loved it. Thank you. I love you too.
Bye.
See ya.